bad boy happen. Boom. All right. We're almost there now. Almost there. So, boom. So that should do it. Hopefully. What I'm hoping for, and maybe some of you guys can give me some feedback to see if it's happening out there for me. But what we're doing is we're broadcasting both to the We page and we're broadcasting to other pages that I control and also to friends and followers that I have on various pages. Now, that is something that is very unique in what we're trying to get done, because normally you're just kind of broadcasting, especially if you're using the split screen technology, you're just broadcasting to one place, and that's kind of it. So we're experimenting today on the fly, and hopefully that will be okay. So, but let me just get back to what I was talking about. The cold is really an issue where I'm at. So I get up at 4 a.m, right, to get here. So I'm out the door at 4. Everything's going well. My schedule's going well. Everything's coming together. So then I get out to my car. I've inched through the ice, as I've mentioned. I'm kind of taking my time inching through the ice, and I'm kind of making my way to the car. Then I get to the car, and the whole car is iced over. The whole car. So 2 things. The first thing was when I tried to open my car door, I couldn't do it. The whole door was stuck. It was ice closed, ice shut. And then secondly, I needed to, I guess in the future, plan some time in my schedule just so if it's snowing or ice situation like that, I can plan time to warm up the car, clean up the car, because I'm pretty much in the morning, boom, boom, boom. I'm just trying to get out the door by 4 so I can get on the road. So, it started me to think. Actually, and then another thing happened that started me to think. And so I'm going to kind of combine the two a little bit. The other thing is I was looking on Facebook, and one of my cousins had posted, and she takes the bus to work. And she said that when she got off the bus, she slipped yesterday on the ice and just fell to her knees. Now, this is not a young cousin. So it's serious if, she gets an injury or hip or something like that. I mean, she's not old by any means. She's younger than me. But, it's not something that you really want to have happen. And then she proceeded to say that she slipped 6 times before she got home. That's how bad the ice was here. It was terrible. And quite frankly, when I got up yesterday, I didn't see any trucks moving, no snow trucks, anything like that. I was kind of, just out there by myself. I didn't see any evidence that any work had been done. So even if I'd been able to get to my car, it might have been quite an experience just getting in, easily. So it started me to think that maybe what we ought to talk a little bit about, given the weather, and the weather is kind of the number one issue here locally, is some of the things that you can do. What are de-icers that you can buy, which I need to buy? Actually, I have bought. I do have now. So just so if something like that happens, now I've got a car de-icer. Now, what is that? That is the spray that I have now that I can go spray my door and spray my window and maybe get inside my car to kind of melt it a little bit, some kind of chemical compound. And then I wanted to see what the best ones were. And I started thinking about that, because you go into the store, you kind of ask the guy, what do you think I should get? And he makes a suggestion. That's what you get. And hopefully, you getting something that'll be okay. But it started me to thinking about maybe we should talk a little bit about de-icing, and especially given the weather, and what you can do if you wake up to a situation like what I woke up to the other day, where you're trying to get to work and you're trying to de-ice your car to kind of get inside, and you're having some problems. So perhaps tomorrow I'm going to do a little talking about that, about de-icing and so on, and what you can do about that. And then the second thing that I thought about, because of my cousin, is what can women do? And I was talking to a buddy about it, and he said, women should just wear cleats. Hold on, I'm gonna take a little sip of my morning coffee. He said, women should just wear cleats and dig into the ice with the shoe. And so women aren't going to do that, man. They need fashionable than some sports cleats. That's just not going to work. So I started looking into that also. I mean, what are maybe the top 5 shoes that you can kind of slip on, slip off, maybe having a little bag that's pretty easy. And I thought maybe I'd do a little research on that later, maybe talk about it on tomorrow's show a little bit about what you can do, because it is real. This ice that we're experiencing here in Maryland and perhaps in other parts of the East Coast, it is real with people having major accidents. I mean, I've seen a major accident the other day that was kind of tough, like a 3-car accident, and it made me not want to go back outside. I ordered that evening. I just ordered in. My girlfriend and I, we just ordered in, and that was that, because we just didn't feel like it. And then another buddy of mine, who I'm sure is watching the show right now, he was telling me how he had a doctor's appointment and he was kind of going to tough it out to make it to the appointment. He felt it was a fairly important doctor's appointment, but his windshield was so covered with ice that he turned around and went back home, canceled the appointment. So this whole ice and this cold is really an issue. And maybe there's something that we can do in terms of providing the public different little things that might be helpful. And if any of you have some ideas of things that we can kind of do some research on and find out about products that we can suggest to you out there that you might be able to get a hold of to get through all this, I would be happy to hear about it. Because this show, again, is about all of us. Back in the old days, as many of you know, I used to do live TV. I actually came to fame back in 1999 with the TV side of my career. A lot of folks know me for investments, and I've been in the investment business the majority of my life, between investments and accounting. And, I was asked to come on at that time when the stock market crashed. The stock market ultimately dropped about 500 or so points, 535, something like that, if my memory serves me correctly. But they were looking for people to come on television. And there was such a flurry at that time. There was a lot of people just not knowing which way to go. And so they reached out to me. All of the TV stations at that time kind of reached out to me to say, Nate, would you be willing to come on and talk about the market, what people ought to do during this environment? And I said, sure. So I was on, back in those days, all 3 of the major channels, the local channels that we have here. And I started doing some of the national stuff as well. And then when that period had passed, I was offered a job by Channel 2 to come on. Actually, they wanted me to come on 5 days a week. But at that time, I traveled quite a bit. I was on the road quite a bit. I still think I got like 100,000 miles from some airline that I could probably get. I don't even know if I could access it. But I said, what if I do it 3 days a week? I'll do it Tuesday through Thursday. And I did that for a few years. I would come on television and I would talk about the market. And then I would take live questions, which I'm looking to do today, to take live questions. Oh, we got a comment. Who is this? Got one comment out there. Let me move that up. Oh, wow. Look at that. Alexis is up. Good morning, Alexis. Alexis Coates is out there. And let me just show his comment. He says, Alexis says, good morning. Good morning to you, Alexis. And happy to see you. Alexis is a major tech guy here. He's going to be doing some 40 under 40 programs across the country. And I want to give him a nice little plug. He is the founder and chairman of the Black Business Review, which I also want to give a plug. I noticed that he was on my personal page. Hey, Alexis. That's cool. That's cool. Because I sent my stuff right back to you. And that's what this is all about. This is kind of an exchange here. We can exchange and promote and talk and stuff. And that's what I'm hoping. And I'm really glad to see Alexis. Alexis, check out that link. You want to talk some more? Check out that link and click on that link and come on the broadcast. And we can chew the fat straight directly. So happy to have you on. Happy to chew the fat with you. And happy that you get up early like I do. And that's kind of what I wanted to do with the show. I am a morning person. I jump out the bed, fired up, ready to go. No problem getting dressed. No problem coming down and getting myself together out the door. I am definitely a morning person. And back in the old days, what I would do is I would start my day, of course, watching the morning news shows or stuff like that. Sometimes I read a little bit of the book, various books. And I'm working on my book. So it was an ideal time to try to knock out a page or two. And, I'd look at Morning Joe and CNN with Chris Como, and I'd watched their stuff, and it was kind of interesting to me, the format of how they did it. And in studying those formats, that's why, we kind of evolved into what we're doing right now. The show will run from 6 to 9, 5 days a week. But what I'm hoping is that in addition to being able to talk to you and to put information out there that might be helpful to you, that you'll interact. And that's why if you go to the website, if you go to Facebook, the We 123, you can find our Facebook page. Many of you are already on it, seeing the broadcast. But I pinned at the top of that page the link that if you click on that link, bing, you'll appear in my green room over here. And in that green room, then I can elevate you so we can shoot a fat a little bit for a few minutes. And I'm kind of hoping that we can make it happen like that. So that's really my goal. And so we can have a little bit of interchange. Now, I have to warn you, if you plan to come on the show and go for bad or do some pornography or something that's not appropriate, I got the ability to click you off just as quickly as we click you on. So, because that's not really what we're trying to do. I want to hear what you're thinking about anything. I want to hear what you're thinking about the playoffs. I want to hear what you're thinking about the weather, what you're thinking about various issues. Here in Baltimore last night, we had kind of a major meeting about school board. And I'm looking forward, there's a gentleman that's supposed to come on the line about 7 o'clock, and we're going to talk about solar panels if he makes it. And that's kind of interesting to me because the whole situation with not being able to heat schools. And Baltimore, we're having a problem here. And what that's meant is that all these schools get closed because they simply can't heat them. Now, that's kind of unheard of. I don't personally recall ever missing school because the school was too cold. Now, it may have been too cold to get there or conditions, snow and so on to keep you from wanting to travel back and forth. But once you got to school, it was pretty much an environment that you could be comfortable in, whether it was warm enough in cold weather like today or cool enough in the summer. So, that's kind of an issue. And it may be an issue in other parts of the country as well. I don't know. Again, if you get a second, just come on. And we can kind of chew the fat about it. But there was a major meeting last night. One of our show's hosts, one of the shows that we host on the We is the Donnie Glover show. Donnie was there last night. He posted a lot about it on his particular website. So, not on his website, but on his Facebook page, he posted a lot about that. So, that whole issue again, that's just one more spin of how the weather is affecting people as the number one issue. But, getting back to that, that whole issue of getting issues that are kind of top in the news. I don't know how many people out there read that Trump is saying that he is no longer going to pursue trying to get oil off the Florida coast. Now, that is a good thing, in my opinion, because the more you do that kind of drilling closer to where people live, the greater you have, if you have an accident, and sooner or later you're going to have an accident where there's some type of oil spill. And they're still not 100% having cleaned up some of the oil spills from the old days, when we had major oil spills from Exxon and BP Petroleum, and that stuff is still having effects. We don't talk about it, but it's still having environmental effects. And so the more you can avoid doing that kind of oil drilling, close to populations, I think the better off we are as a country. Now, also the fact that given all this fracking and stuff that we're doing, we now have evolved from the old days. We used to talk about how dependent we were on these Arab countries. We're like oil dependent and we need to get ourselves off being so oil dependent. But with, quite frankly, one of the benefits of fracking and that we have such an abundance of natural gas in this country, we're now energy independent. We don't really need anybody's energy, anybody's oil or anything like that. In fact, we're getting to be we're a net exporter of natural gas. And so there's no real reason to do something like open up drilling off the Florida coast because we don't need the oil. In fact, maybe one of the reasons might have been economic as to why Trump said he didn't want to do it, because the more oil that's available, the price goes down. Because the more anything that you have available, the cheaper it becomes. So whatever the factors were, I think it's a good thing to do. And maybe you can kind of chime in and let me know what you're thinking. So, I'm kind of checking over here to see if there's any other comments. Not so far, but continuing to look for them and continuing to be able to kind of try to see if we can get some other folks on the show and talk a little bit about something. From the investment perspective, I'm actually looking to do probably a separate investment show, because there's so many people that, because of my background, because of what I still keep my hand in on a personal level, who ask me about Bitcoins, who ask me about marijuana stocks, other things that are out there that people are talking about making money. Because one thing that can't be denied is that the stock market has done well over the last year. I have a buddy of mine, and he was telling me, he was asking me, what should I do? He's got some money for his kids. And I told him the direction he ought to go. And, he was just surprised at how quickly he seemed to have made a few bucks off it. And that is something that I'm thinking about doing a whole new show, maybe later in the day, where we talk a little bit about investments. And plus, I was reading yesterday with Bill Miller, who used to be at Legg Mason here, real top and portfolio manager, investment manager. A lot of people followed his advice and made quite a bit of money. He's thinking that this market has another 30% upside to it. Another 30%. Now, if you measure that against what you get by putting your money in a CD or some form of savings account, if he's half right, you're getting 1% or less in many of these investment vehicles. And he believes the stock market has a 30% upside over the next year. If he's even half right, you're going to do substantially better being in the stock market. That doesn't mean that every stock is going to go up. He's talking about on the average that the market's going to go up 30%. So if you're in the stock picking game, you have to be very careful. So there are other ways that I would advise investors. And so later I'm going to launch a show. I'm thinking about calling it Chapman Means Money, where we talk about issues, where I bring in some of the people who I know in the industry, maybe like Bill, who could talk a little bit about what's happening in the market and why they feel the way they feel. The other thing from a programmatic standpoint that we're looking to do within the We, and we can talk a little bit more about that and issues and so on, is maybe do something where we profile of the social media influencers. There's so many people who I know who are out there who are using the Facebook and using YouTube as a way in which to promote themselves. And to just, get the information out there. And we thought we'd collaborate with them a little bit. You're likely to hear a little bit more about that. We have established our YouTube channel, and a lot of the broadcasts that you see are going to be uploaded. And I would say pretty much every broadcast you see is going to be uploaded on YouTube, and we'll kind of get that going. We also in the future will be doing some stuff with Instagram, maybe some of the other social media platforms as we continue to develop out our program. And we can get more of you guys who are out there up at 6 a.m. to kind of click on that link and join me and chop it up. Because this is an evolution. It's an evolution of, I guess, who I am as a person and what I like to do. I like conversations. I like meeting new people, and I do it a lot. Strike up random conversations. One of my good friends who I just approved as a friend this morning, he's finally on Facebook. He's at work now, so I'm not sure if he's watching, but I approved him as a friend this morning. We were out maybe about a month ago. I forget if it was something we were celebrating or something like that. And, we've been buddies a long time. And we're at the restaurant, chewing fat. And so there was somebody right next to us who was saying something, and just instinctively, I made a comment, a positive comment about it, kind of joined their conversation. He's like, man, you can't do that. People will take that the wrong way. People, jumping into people's conversations and stuff. People might think you're doing any old kind of thing on them, trying to work some move on them or something like that. But it's kind of what I do. I kind of, in situations, I just enjoy talking to people. And it doesn't really matter who you are. I mean, you could be the president of the United States. I mean, back in the day, I was very active in politics. Yeah, I've been at the table with the president and chewed the fat, several times, many situations with president. So, and that for me was President Clinton. That was really when I was kind of in the game, in that way. Or if you're a homeless person, I'll go out to the food trucks in Baltimore, and I'll sit on the side, and if some homeless person comes up and he wants to talk, I'll chew the fat with him. Sometimes they'll come up and they want a couple bucks, or sometimes they just want to talk. And I guess because of just my personality, I don't mind. And quite frankly, whether you're whoever you are, I find that I learn something from someone else's experience, and I just enjoy that type of thing. So this really is an evolution, and that's why I'm hoping that some guys will take that link that's at the top of the page, because what will happen is, let's say you click on the link, and boom, I got somebody here that just gave me a little tag, commented on the photo that I'm tagged in. Okay, well, come on the show. That little boom, it made me look to my right to see what that was. I got to get used to that. But if you are someone who is just out there, and want to express your opinion about some things, kind of like the old days of talk radio. You remember talk radio where people would kind of call in and they talk about either the subject at hand, or they say, there's something I wanted to get off my chest, or something that I want to talk about. I'm kind of hoping to evolve the format via social media just that way. Because there's so many people. First, the technology has evolved that kind of allows that a little easier than what it was in the past. The technology has evolved, but it is kind of an evolution. It's one thing to have talk radio where, and I've done some of that. Heck, I've done some of it recently, where you go on a radio station and a few guys chew the fat, but then maybe there might be somebody who asks a question and calls in the phone number. Well, instead of calling into the phone number, what I'm hoping is you click on that link, and then what is supposed to happen, just to get back to that, what is supposed to happen is there'll be an app that you got to download called BeLive. And BeLive is kind of the format that we're using. BeLive TV is kind of the software that we've kind of shaped to do the show. But you got to download it, and it's a telephone thing. It's a cell phone thing. It's not an iPad thing or a tablet thing. It's a cell phone thing. So you download the BeLive.tv app, and then you just sign into Facebook, and then you, boom, magically appear up here. And then I can look over and see you there and announce your presence, and then say, hey, look, let's chop it up, see what you're thinking about. So that's really the process. If anyone has any real difficulty in doing that, I'd like to know that too, so we can work out the kinks, because ultimately that's what we want. The other day, if you guys look at the We site, you'll see that we hosted the Donnie Glover show. And Donnie had a few guests on his show. And ultimately, I like to do the same thing. Now, if I could dream a perfect world, what I would do is, maybe I might have a few guests here, but still, I want the people to chime in. His show was talking about the education issues, and that was great. But in addition to the folks who were chopping it up with the education issues, which is great, he had Donna Black and Monica Jones, who were on the show, who did a great job. But in addition to that, I would have loved to have had some live questions so that they could have reacted to the public, in addition to reacting to each other. They were real good. They had different points of view, so there was a lot of conflict on that show. And I kind of welcome you to join the show at any time. So, that's really what we're hoping to accomplish, because there's so much news out there, but the news is all the news of the people. If you look at some of these TV shows and all, they're reporting what you do, and as the people. And there's no reason why that you, as the people, can't do that directly. And that is, what we hope. Because what I do is each day there's a different link that you can click on to join the show. And so I put that link in the top of the Facebook page on the We page. So the the THEWE, people have asked me how that's spelled. Sometimes I got a little graphic. In fact, I could probably take the time and push the graphic because there's two different things that's happening right now. One is we're broadcasting directly to the we. And the second is we're broadcasting to everybody else I know. All the groups I belong to, all of the friends and so on that I have, we're broadcasting to them simultaneously. And I'm finding out here in this little experiment, how many of you folks get up early like me? I don't know if you said, well, Nate, I'm up early. It's nice that you can bring me on the cell phone, but, I'm not ready with my look and all that. I'm not quite tight enough yet to kind of join you on the show. But don't worry about that. Just put it on your face. Y'all don't have to see the whole thing. As I said, if y'all gonna go for some, showing me too much, I might have to take you off the program. But barring that, you're in the game. And so I'm looking forward to that and evolving it over time. I'm sure that a month from now we'll have a lot more people who are chiming in. Some I would have arranged to chime in because some of the early part of what we're doing is kind of is testing the technology a little bit, because the whole issue of split screens and being able to broadcast these multiple streams of information and video is a fairly new thing, and having it work the way that that I want it to work. Is a fairly new thing. So we're doing some things that quite frankly have not been done before, the way we're doing them. So that's why I want to get the people in, so if there's some kinks to work out along our way of doing this kind of talk format, that we can work them out. Now, having said that, there will be some guests here periodically and we'll be kicking it and so on. But, I'd just like to hear from you out there that you guys are hearing me and that you're coming in. If you can imagine, let's say other people did what I'm proposing to do. Let's say, for instance, Good Morning America or whatever, just allow the people to come into the show. I mean, that's Good Morning America, and you got Mike Strahan and all these folks, and they kicking it and all that. And I kind of enjoy that. I enjoy some of the comments, but every once in a while, it would be nice to just hear something from the people. If you're out there driving your tractor trailer truck, pull aside, or if you can just look, you got a comment, just bring it on in. Or if you're one of those guys who are still icing down the street with the salt truck, just bring your comment on in, because we're not looking for, everybody with a PhD, to be coming in here giving this informed, educated opinion. We want the people. That's why we call the thing the we. Not the we, if you just got a college degree, or the we if you just got some money. It's really the we of all of us. It is all of the people out there I want to bring on and to hear from you. May not always agree with you. And, I may have to, just talk to you for a little while and chew the fat, whether it's sports. You might have saw the NBA game last night, and you might want to talk a little bit about that, or you might want to talk a little bit about the ladies that are out there about female issues, that whole black magic stuff that Alexis was telling me about. We may do something along that line, that black magic, or any old kind of magic. I don't know, Mexican magic. I don't know all that, but I'm open to it all. Since I like talking about whatever and learning about whatever, because we're trying to make the magic right here. So, those are the kind of things. There are a number of issues that are very serious that we can discuss. Issues like fatherhood. People, I saw some comments the other day where people were talking about, especially in light of what's happening with Baltimore schools. The young lady was on the show, Donnie's show the other day. She was saying that in the old days, if you had 25 students in your classroom, that 2 might be what she would call bad, and 23 would be good. Now she's saying it's reversed from her perspective, that 23 are bad and only 2 are good. So, that was quite the statement for me, that maybe things have evolved like that within the school system, and whether or not it's just a local problem here and all of the reasons for it. We had another show where the guy Kenny Brown was on the show, who publishes the Northwest publication, and he was talking about kind of the evolution of why we in Baltimore have so many homeless people, and in fact, the racial component has changed. We probably have as many or more Caucasian homeless people who are out there asking, has the little sign, homeless, can you give me some bucks to help out, as we do, African Americans in a city that's primarily African American. Why is that? Why the change? And for the reasons for those changes are similar to what's happening in other cities, that maybe folks can come together. And also, as I get older, when I was younger, people used to kind of refer to me as like a whiz kid. Yeah. And I guess, it's kind of okay. I didn't really appreciate it at the time. I wasn't angry or anything about it. I just didn't appreciate what kind of, what it meant to be a whiz kid. I just kind of did my thing. But, for instance, most people, some people know, I don't know. I completed my graduation requirements in college in 2.5 years, and president of student government, stuff like that. So, they refer to me as a whiz kid and all that. But as I've gotten older, no longer the whiz kid. And I am thankful for whiz kids that are out there. But now I'm a little part of the older generation. But, there are a lot of older people, who are 40 and above, 45 and above. I'm not really calling that truly old, but, older, who are still in the game. And we're thinking about doing some programming that's kind of targeted toward some of the older folks that are still in the game in various ways. And as I mentioned, we may do something on people who travel. I have so many friends who travel, who are world travelers. And there's a fair amount of single women. In addition to those people who I know who still are couples, and they're traveling around, I know a fair amount of single women who are traveling and just enjoying themselves, have these groups and all. And we want to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to try to get some people who are traveling to kind of talk about it a little bit, maybe come on and talk about their experiences, because quite frankly, I enjoy it. I mean, I enjoy the fact that I can kind of share your travel without even traveling myself, that so many people will talk about the things that are both good and bad, because I do like to travel myself. I don't do it as much as I used to. And quite frankly, having a show that I want to do 5 days a week kind of restricts my travel a little bit to weekends. and we'll have to look at that as we evolve. I might have somebody, come in at some point in time to kind of take over. I kind of did that when I was on live news, there was a point in time when I had someone else at my company come in and do it. But we're certainly a long way from there today. We're still very much in the development stage, and we're each day kicking off something new. And quite frankly, I really want to, in addition to opening up the show to to people, I want to open it up globally. So if you're one of my friends, and I have friends, I'm blessed to have friends for various reasons for all over the world. And many of you have congratulated me, who come into seeing the website and so on. So whether you're in South America, Russia, Africa, you can click on that link. Come on into the show, and let's chop it up a little bit and kind of do our thing a little bit. And help me test it out that this thing works not only in the United States, but works globally. And I've been since we've launched the show. If you look down in the comment part of the show, you'll see a number of people who from all over the world. And they mostly congratulating us on kind of getting off the ground and what we're trying to do here. But now let's evolve it to the next stage. Let's get on in, because I know you guys are doing interesting things that the general public would like to hear about. And they try to do some things. And also, we plan to probably take the show on the road. The good thing, eventually, the good thing about what we're doing is that it can be taken on the road. Also, I just want to get your perspective. I mean, there are things that are happening in South America. My friend Joe, he sent me a nice little word. He was down in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro, and he, congratulating me. But I know that there are things that are happening down there that would be interesting for us to know, that don't always hit the news. I saw another good friend who was down in Peru, and she congratulated me. So I want you guys to know, I perhaps, if I had thought about it, I would have kind of, maybe looked at my phone here, just gone down little comments of everybody who said congratulations, and see if I could get you guys to take it to the next stage. One of my other buddies from Romania kind of committed Marius, who you guys who know Marius, and in fact, if you look at my personal page, one of my sayings is "Hungry dogs hunt best." Now, "Hungry dogs hunt best" is a saying that I picked up while I was up in the MIT program training to teach entrepreneurship. And I'll talk a little bit about that. But the person who drew that cartoon was Marius. And Marius is a multi-talented person. In addition to being a great scientist, he's a great artist. And so those two animals that are there were done by Marius as a part of another program which emanated out of MIT. So, and many of us were a part of called the Discipline Entrepreneurship, which was created by the great Bill Aulet. Bill is one of the past masters of entrepreneurship, and is the person who coordinates the entrepreneurship program at MIT. So if you look at my personal page and you see that "Hungry Dog Hunts Best," that's Marius, who will be here in February to talk a little bit about his company and what he's doing, and it's very interesting. As I'm going to try to do that too. I mean, there's some areas that I think we need to talk more about that are really affecting what we do in this world. What we do with virtual reality, which Marius is going to be able to touch a little bit on that and what he's doing in his company. What we do with artificial intelligence and what they call deep learning. In fact, we incorporate some of those techniques that, quite frankly, I learned to get to know our clients, get to know the people who are coming in better, so we can better provide you content. So we can talk more about the things that you're kind of interested in. And it becomes kind of a computer program that kind of raises the topics that you are most likely to be interested in. So that's how we determine it. We also can look at current events. Like I mentioned what happened just last night, locally, although we'll be, quite frankly, talking about things that are happening globally, like, for example, I appreciate any of my Korean or South Korean friends chiming in on this. What's happening with the North and South Korea talking to each other. And then North Korea is going to send a delegation of some sort to the Olympics. That's kind of interesting. It's just first thing, this terrible villain about to destroy the world. And next thing you know, the North and the South were talking. They haven't talked in, forever. Trump is saying that he's for it, that he may even be open to talking to them directly. And that's a big change. That's kind of talking to the United States is supposed to be a big benefit you get for cooperating, that you do some things. And if you do some things like what we're saying, you get to talk to us. And what does that mean? Talking normally means that you get to put some things on the table to help you make money as a country. That's really the big deal. First, if we're talking, then maybe we're not at war with each other. And then secondly, if you bring me to the table and you're across from me, if I'm a small country and I get to talk to the U.S., the first thing I want to talk about is how we can break into that U.S. market and make some money. First, don't invade me. Just make sure we have that set up. But then secondly, let's talk about making some money. And given the shape that North Korea is in after all these sanctions and all, were they to be able to talk to the United States, and probably indirectly, they're probably talking about making money. The same thing with South Korea. South Korea has a tremendous economy. As I mentioned, I have many friends there. I have relatives. Heck, I've got a cousin that promotes concerts in South Korea. Jay, if you're out there listening, I'm giving you a plug. What he's done, he used to be stationed in the military in South Korea. And what he does is take lower level rap groups, not the big ones that you hear a lot about, because rap is a big deal, is a moneymaker over in South Korea. And he promotes those groups over there. So he'll take those groups over there and put together a little concert hall, and has done quite well in doing that. It's a tremendous business idea. And I kind of like the idea. quite frankly, of African Americans and South Koreans working together and kind of globalization of stuff, because I think that helps us all, whatever the race is. I think the more that we have those kind of stories being told, the more that we interact, different groups coming together, I think the better off we are. And quite frankly, that's what I'm hoping that the show will be about. I'm hoping that so many of my friends from various cultures, various religions, kind of come in and we can chop it up a little bit here and learn from each other and get to know each other. Because I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I dream of businesses and ideas. They say that ideas are the currency of the future. And if that's true, then I'm going to be a rich man, because I have no shortage of ideas. And I'm always open to collaboration. See, that makes sense. I was out in Seattle, Washington. It's been a little while ago now. But I remember going to an open market, and this guy was in there, and he was selling some type of organic product. And we were talking, and he was in the market selling it. And before you know it, we had struck up a deal where, I could be a distributor for that product on the East Coast. That's what I like. Because it's possible, to talk to some guy I never met, but we're, those of us who kind of are business minded, entrepreneurship minded, and depending on the statistics, I think I read something that between 5 to 11%, a lower 5 and a top of 11% of us identify as entrepreneurs. So, and so when you're out there and you're meeting entrepreneurs, for me, I kind of, trying to figure out how we can do something together. And it doesn't matter who you are. If I can see the mix, whether we're talking when I go to Hong Kong or someplace, and we're looking at a product that we might be able to sell, or things that you might be able to help me to manufacture, I'm very open to that. And talking about how we might make it work. I've been doing that, quite frankly, since my early 20s. That I can think of, since my early 20s. I think the first deal, actually, that I did that was kind of like that, I remember there was a company, that major bamboo company that sells all that wicker furniture. Can't call his name right now, but is it Pier 21 or Pier something like that? They were going bankrupt out in Los Angeles. And I happened to know some folks who were associated with that. So we basically bought the bankrupt inventory, warehoused it, and then resold it at a profit. And so at a young age, I was kind of doing those kind of deals and trying to make it happen. And I think the young lady who was actually coordinating with us to make that happen was Filipino. And there are a lot of the products in the Pier 21, I think that's what it was, were made in the Philippines. And so that whole thing of being able to come together and make that happen, I quite frankly find pretty exciting. And it is those kind of deals that make sense, where especially those buy low, bankruptcy, sell high through another distribution chain, make kind of layup deals where you make a little money in between. Are things that I was doing at an early age and kind of enjoyed. So we'll probably talk about those things, because that really takes us into the whole conversation about crowdfunding. And crowdfunding is something, equity crowdfunding is something that's very new. Now, what's crowdfunding in general? Basically is a strategy that now allows you to raise money over the internet. It used to be, before May of last year, that the only way you could if you raise money, the only thing you could give the person who gave you money or invested money in you was some kind of promotional gift. But after May of last year, that changed. That someone can raise money selling stock in their company, which changed the game. And we need to know more about that as a country, and really to get into crowdfunding a little bit more. One of the largest crowdfunding platforms, and that's kind of a crowdfunding platform, you need to come through one of those. So you just can't tomorrow say, hey, I want to raise some money on the internet, and start putting stuff out there and selling your stock on the internet. You can't do that. That's not legal. You need to go through a crowdfunding platform. And those crowdfunding platforms are specifically approved by the SEC to do crowdfunding. So you go to one of those places, WeFunder, WEFUNDR, WeFunder is one of the largest. In fact, it was founded by a guy I know from MIT, and he he put this thing together, and he was with the president when they signed. Obama signed it, and so on. He was part of the picture and all that. And so that platform that he created, he can then take your company, you fill out the forms and everything, and he'll take pictures and do videos and all that. And you put your company on that platform, and then it gets broadcasted out. And whatever your deal is you're putting out there, that, I want to sell 25% of my company, and each share I'm selling for $10 or whatever it might be. Now, then you can take that out there to the world and sell that stock and sell your stock through the internet, which is a major game changer. Now, a lot of these private companies, these startup companies, they just used to be where venture capitalists operated, because venture capitalists understand that if I invest in 10 companies, and I tell you that, my investment experience, if I invest in 10 companies, then 2 of them, 3 of them are going to straight up go out of business. They're just going to disappear. Another 2 are going to lose some money. Another 2 might make a little money, but it's going to be that remaining, 1 or 2 companies that are remaining that are going to shoot to the moon and they will justify investing in the entire 10. So that's why you want to diversify, because you don't know which of those companies it's going to be. If you knew that, then you would only invest in those companies, but you don't know that. So what you do through crowdfunding is you have the chance, because you're investing in the earliest possible stage, just beyond the startup. These companies normally have a little revenue, but not much, and not much of an operating history. And so you invest at early stage. So if they take off, they pop. And you've seen those stories where some of these early crowdfunding companies get purchased by major companies, but for the billions. So you take your chance. You might invest in some of these crowdfunding companies, and we'll talk more about it, that completely go out of business. And then you hopefully will have those, if you stay with it, that are going to go to the moon and make you say, boy, I'm glad that I invested in these crowdfunding companies. So you just want to take a little piece of your money and invest in those kind of companies. So, I'm looking, wow, we still trying to get some comments, still trying to get some things that we can talk about. I don't see any that have popped up for me yet, but I'm happy that that looks like everything's holding technology wise, and that we are kind of getting out there to you, and we can chew the fat with you. I was talking the other day to a friend about Bitcoin, and one of the things that to me that's really exciting about Bitcoin is that big players are starting to get involved in it. And we'll talk more about that when I hit the investment show. But when you see the JP Morgans of the world getting involved with Bitcoin, it makes you think that maybe there's something to it over the long term. And when you see the SEC approving futures, future contract is something where you lock in a price. So you have a price that's locked in, and in the future, if things go up, so that it will force you to pay more for that thing, your price is locked in today and vice versa. There's a lot of ways to play futures. But when you see those kind of things being approved for the SEC, it makes you think that people perhaps should have a little bit of their money in it. And people have talked about it. I had a buddy call me the other day who was talking to someone who had made this tremendous amount of money on paper and Bitcoins and saw it going to the moon. I think she put 5,000 in, and she said, "Oh boy, it's worth 15,000. We're going to ride that to 100,000." I'm gonna tell you right now, my opinion: if you got something you put 5,000 in, and you make 15, it's time to sell. The old saying in the investment business, and not to harp too much on that, but bears make money, bulls make money, pigs don't make any money. When you start dreaming that, hey, we're going to take that 5 and ride it to 100, it may happen, but it might take 10 years, and perhaps that's that's okay. But in the short run, that thing could go up and down. It might pull back a little bit. So if you in any way tripled your money or doubled your money, the thing that I would talk a little bit about is that you ought to take that profit and continue to move on. So that was kind of interesting to me to have that conversation with them. So I get a lot of people talking to me about that. The whole relationship, I get people talking to me about relationships. So I'm open. I'm open to talk about just about anything you might want to talk about. And I get people who want to talk to me about, relationships. We may bring some programming on that as well, where we have some women who, and men, who are willing to kind of discuss those issues later in the network. And for those who find the information that they provide informative, that we would be able to provide that on our network. Because our ultimate goal with being on the We Network is to go 24/7, 7 days a week. So for you, for those of you who are joining us again, if you look at the We, if you come to the We, some of you are on the We right now, so you can just click on the link and you can join the program. Others of you are seeing me via other mechanisms. Other things I'm affiliated with, groups, pages, and so on. If you come over to Facebook to The We 123, that's THEWE 123, and just click on the link that's at the top of the page. You'll be able to join the broadcast. You'll come into my green room, and we'll be able to chew the fat. And that's if you click on that link anywhere in the world. You need to try your best to have a strong internet connection. I mean, that's not necessary per se, but you don't want your signal to be dropping and stuff if you can avoid it. And that's always cool. I mean, we're trying to experiment here. So, those of you who have a wireless connection or something like that, that's all cool. We will try it and see what happens. And if it seems like connections are dropping a little bit more than what we'd expect, then we'd ask you to maybe see what you can do. And that's kind of hard, really, just thinking about it, kind of hardwiring the cell phone. At best what you could do is kind of link into a network. I don't want to get too technical with that. We're linking to a network that is hardwired. So, you got a stronger connect, so that's neither here nor there. I won't get too technical. Although, I do have, to be able to put this together, kind of a little technical background, because I enjoy. I'm a learner. The first thing I do, like with Bitcoin, people would ask me about Bitcoin. A lot of it, I have mother's wit like anybody else, and I've got a tremendous amount of investment experience. But the first thing I do is take a course. I look at there. And I'll say, well, I'm going to take a course on this. I'm going to learn it, see what's happening with it and so on. I'm going to try to have a bit of an educated opinion about it. And then oftentimes when I'm in the process of taking the course, I find out there's a certification that you can get. So what I'll do is I'll go through the certification process. So I've taken a course, might as well get certified, right? Might as well there be organized into it. So that's kind of what I've started. I haven't completed it with Bitcoin. I've kind of gone through the course and now the certification process. That's neither here nor there, other than the fact that when I come out and I speak about something, I combine all my investment experience plus the fact that I do have some training in it. That's why, and I talked a little bit about entrepreneurship because I really like teaching entrepreneurship. Among other things, people have their thing and mine is entrepreneurship. I've got 40 years worth of business experience of all types. I've taken companies from idea to public companies, and that's what I'm in history books for. And I've created things like mutual funds from scratch. And so when you create something from scratch, you tend to know it a little better than it already being created. And then you come in as an executive officer or something like that. And when I say created from scratch, I'm the kind of guy, you talk to me in a restaurant, I'm pulling out my pen and I'm drawing it on the napkin. And the next thing you know, a month from now, if it's not happening, then I've gone into another direction. I found out a reason why it can't happen. Because we say, and quite frankly, from the entrepreneur, the difference between an entrepreneur and a wantrepreneur, and my friend Mylan, if he's out there, he'll understand. If you have an idea, and 30 days from that day, you got a business, you're an entrepreneur. If you got an idea, and 30 days from that day, you're still thinking about it, you're a wantrepreneur. That's how it is. That's not too cold. But there's a little cartoon I sent out to my friends, which kind of go into that, speak to that, the difference between an entrepreneur and a wantrepreneur. Because once you got that idea, boom, you got to be out there. And quite frankly, I'm fortunate and blessed to be surrounded by a number of do-it-now people, that if it's in your spirit to do it now. And you'll hear me, talk a little bit about the whole MIT experience. And one of the things that they teach up there is that you want to do something, get it out, and what they call your minimum viable product. And I agree. You get out the minimum and then you react to the people in many ways. I won't say this is the minimum, but I'm hoping to react to you guys. I'm hoping to react to the public and to see what, hey, Nate, this is how I think about various things you're trying to do. And then I can make some changes. And the other thing that they say, which is good, is in business, you want to fail quickly. If you're going to fail, you want to fail quickly. And that way you take the lessons from your failure and you reiterate. So you do it, you take those changes and you come back again, stronger because you've made those changes. So in that sense, there's no such thing as failure. There's only the learning experience from going out there and doing your thing. And that's something that, we're going to talk a little bit about. So for me, I got the 40 years worth of experience, and then I always take a course, even though I can talk entrepreneurship all day. I know what it's like. I didn't touch on all of my experience, but I'm also a former CPA. I was at Peat Mark Mitchell for years, and I worked at Alex Brown. As an investment banker, Alex Brown's the oldest name in investment banking in the world, in the country, third oldest in the world. And so that used to be a thing we'd say, Alex Brown, oldest name in investment banking in America, third oldest in the world. That used to be our little thing we'd say. And so, working there, and it was a tremendous IPO firm during the time I was there. In fact, a lot of people don't know, but it was Alex Brown out of Baltimore who took Microsoft public. So you can imagine, companies like Microsoft and all other CEOs that have come through that I've had a chance to meet during my investment banking days. But so I feel like I know a lot about business from different perspectives, accounting and so on and so forth. So, I'm hopeful that I can pass that on. And really with conversations with me, that's kind of what I'm hoping that I can do, that I can pass it on, so to speak. And in that way, continue things on. Because I guess, I've heard somebody, maybe it was a movie I saw where a guy said one of the most important things you can do is just pass it on. And I kind of agree with that, because before you take that dirt bath, it's, just pass on what you know to the next person, make it a little easier. That's what I'm hoping to do. And so whatever the issues that we kind of raised on the show, I've got a life of experience, in not, from my perspective. I mean, many people have different experiences, and that's kind of how we kind of come together a little bit. But, that's kind of what I'm hoping to get out there with this two-way talk kind of thing. And that's why I haven't filled the day up or filled the morning up with friends that I have and, come on the show. I plan to do some of that. But even then, my hope is that I can interest you and let you know that I'm here talking and get you to click. Again, go to the We 123 on Facebook, the We, WE 123, no spaces, on Facebook, and click. And then you fill out, download that app. They ask you to Believe.tv app. And then, because that's kind of our format. And then, sign in to Facebook, and then you're in the flow. I hope. Actually, I've tested it out a little bit, at least, how it is in business. Sometimes you test it, oh, it looks good, until you go live. And then you have to kind of make adjustments on the fly. Which, given the technology that's around me, you can only see a little piece of it from the shape of the screen. But I've got stuff all around me, stuff behind me, stuff behind the camera, and all that go into making this happen. So, but I'm fully willing to make adjustments on the fly, because I know a month from now will be where I like us to be. And you only do that through trying. And that's one of the other things, Also, I want to talk a little bit about just, facing adversity. What do I have? I got a little something that came on my phone that Derek sent a voice message to the We. Well, unfortunately, if you're out there, if you can hear me, Derek, I really can't see what's happening on the We right now. But I can, since you have said that you have sent me something on the Wii, this is on the fly now. I'm going to see if I can go to the Wii and see if there's something that I can go to the Wii on my phone and see if there is something that I can bring up that might help us, make it happen this morning. So if you guys will just kind of work along with me, you'll see what I am trying to do to make it happen this morning. Maybe there's an issue with Derek, he not being able to come on. Derek is due to come on. Not yet. Actually, yeah. Depending on what clock, again, multiple clocks, multiple times, to see, oh, there I am. And Derek said he left a little bit on the thing. We got 6 views and 1 comment. So, oops, I got Derek. We're going to go live. See what's happening here. Hey, Derek.
Hey, how you doing this morning?
Pretty good. You just,
I'm trying to tap into this your weed network.
Mm-hmm.
I put in weed 1, 2, 3. I didn't get it signed in.
Well, keep trying, keep searching, because the we 1, 2, 3, and we're live right now. If you go to the site, you'll see me with my cell phone in my ear for all the people who are looking, and to make this thing happen. So it's there. Yeah, the we THEWE 1, 2, 3, and we can make it happen. So you're searching, keep searching for us. And, because also maybe if you just go to my personal page and then cross over, you'll see pages I'm affiliated with. It might be there too, on the Nathan Chapman page.
I'm on your page and I can see you live.
You see me live? Oh, well, at least I know that's happening. So, yeah. And so if you cross over to the we, that's where the link is. But you just give me an idea. See, that's an idea. I probably should have put the link both on the we and on my personal page for people to see. So that would have brought you in. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I probably. Yeah, because this morning I just put it up on the we page. But that's an idea. Tomorrow it'll be on both my pages. Actually, I got a few pages. I'm gonna put it on all my pages, just so if anybody comes in anyway, they might be a little easier to find that they can see it. So, the we 1, 2, 3. I have tempted to put on my personal page right now. I think it's the last thing I have. So you found my personal page, right? Yeah. See. So I'm going to explain to everyone who's looking at us right now the difference between a personal page and a business page. See, on my business page, if I put something on it, I can pin it to the top of the page so it never goes down. So if someone adds content or anything to my business page, whatever I pinned will stay at the top. On your personal page, it doesn't work that way. You can put it on your personal page, but if anybody adds anything to it, it just continues to push it down. So, something like my link being on my personal page to the program would not be as easy, because it would push it down. But because I know you're looking right now and you're ready to roll, maybe I'll just put it on my personal page.
Let's try. Just search. We're searching it while it's in Facebook, while I'm on your Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Internet.
Yeah, that is something. That is something. And really, to even make it easier for you, if I can do this, let me see, because I'm doing it right here live, because I want to see you and experiment with you. Even to make it quicker. Let me see here. It's the last thing I did on here was the link. Okay, it is. Let me have your email address. I'm going to email it to you real quick. Okay. So that's your last name first. BURNETT. Oh, VA Burnett. DA Burnett. D is in dog. A is in apple. BA Burnett. Say that again. Oh, I'm losing you. I'm hearing 7-7, but I'm not hearing the first part. Oh, 777. Mm-hmm. So DA Burnett 777 at gmail.com. Okay, we're gonna make this thing happen. So we are live, making it happen. All right, I just sent it to you. Just as your email, so hopefully when you click, you'll be in the game. Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. All right. Looking forward to it. If not, call me back. We're just gonna make this thing happen live. Okay. Thanks. Mm-hmm. Bye bye. See that? That's live two-way. This dude to come on. Oh, oops. Not yet. Oops. Well, that's too live. That's got me coming on the show. That's too live. But hey, we're making it happen. We'll see if Derek shows up. If not, we're going to keep working. We're going to do the experimentation because we want to make sure it happens. You know, what he had said to me is that he kind of did a little search and the Wii 123 wasn't popping up. You know, that's not good. So I had to figure out, dog on Facebook, put me in the mix now. You know, some people can find us relatively easy. Some people say, okay, I found you. Other people say, I haven't found you. But Facebook put us in the game so people can find us easily. Maybe I just need more people to Google it or Facebook search it, and then it'll come up some. So we're actually, as I said, experimenting in a couple of things this morning as we talk. And my hope is that, you know, again, for those of you, if there's anyone else out there who's had trouble getting to the Wii 123, because again, we're broadcasting to the Wii directly for those who have found it and their friends and all that. But we're also broadcasting to all of my pages where Derek found was he was able to find the Nathan Chapman page easier than he was the Wii page, which is really interesting because, you know, I thought Facebook would be on top. Once you're in, you're in. It's not, but hey, if you just keep trying, you will search us. But in the meantime, in the spirit of kind of getting him, rolling with us, I just Gmailed him or emailed him while we were talking to kind of make it happen. So, Derek, I'm hoping that you'll pop on at any time, and that will be, good. So, but Derek is going to talk to us a little bit about the whole being able to put those power sidings on your roof so that you can generate that cheap electricity. And we're going to talk a little bit about business issues, a few other things, and kind of chop it up a little bit. So. The solar panels, the word was escaping me, solar panels, which I think is pretty important. I think everyone who can get them ought to have. We are looking to do that. So, what we have here, I've got a second comment. Let me see what that is. A second comment. Earl Bravo. Good morning, Nate. He came on 7 minutes ago. Didn't see your comment there, Earl, but thank you. For your comment and for checking us out this morning. I am going to just just to show your comment there. Good morning, Nate from Earl. Yeah, and so happy to have you watching the show. So we are. Okay, there we go. I see you, Derek. I see you. Let me add you to the broadcast. Notifying guests. Man.
If I flip this sideways, let's
in the game.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's a beautiful thing, my brother.
You might have to turn your phone the other way.
Oh, I gotta keep it straight.
There you go. Well, Derek, one thing that I see already, which is kind of interesting to me for some reason, is that, I'm not hearing you.
Well, you're not hearing me.
See you. You got your, I don't know if the issue is my end or your end.
I can hear you. My volume is all the way up.
So you So I see you, but the issue might be on my end. So you know what, Derek? In the spirit of experimenting with technology, this thing is, I was just going to bring you in on the phone, but I know there's a delay there on the
Yeah,
phone
there's a
that we would not hear each other. So that
Right.
is an experiment.
Right.
But one thing is good. I can see you live and everybody else can see you live. Heck, I'm looking at the various ways in which we broadcast and I definitely see you live. But for some reason, it is not letting me hear you. So let's see here.
It's telling me I'm live. Says you are live.
I'm actually, you know what? Derek, you hold down the fort for a second. I'm going to actually try something different. See if this works. Hold on. I'll be right back.
All right, I'm not going nowhere. Everybody else can see me? Good morning, everybody. Man, we here this morning as the sun is arising. That old saying, the early bird gets the worm. Guess you got to see the worm first. Kind of dark out there. Figure out a way to prop this up.
All right, Derek. How about now?
I've always been able to hear you. Can you hear me?
That wasn't the issue. I thought I could throw on some earphones and be in the game.
Oh. Man, I don't know what the issue is.
How about now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You probably can hear me. Try it out again, Derek. Can you?
So what you want me to do? Step back out?
Let's live.
Yeah, let's
be the issue. Yeah. See me working here on camera. See my. I don't think that is the issue. Oops. Looks like I lost Derek there. Hey, Derek, lost you. Lost you in the midst of the technology experiment. So come on back on again. At least I know you can come on. Whether it was the issue with my phone or your phone, we just have to kind of work through. But normally what would happen, that's the first time we try to bring somebody on. Normally what would happen, okay, Derek's back. I'm going to add him to the broadcast.
Can you hear me now?
Now, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I see a head nod there that you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, it's working on the other platforms, but I cannot hear you. So let's see here. There's probably something on my end that I am not quite aware of yet. Let's see, we got another comment. Maybe that's a viewer out there who
understands that.
Yes, he's telling me that Facebook is slower than the Wii. Yes, so otherwise I would just turn the volume up on my phone. But maybe to a certain extent that might even. Here, let's just experiment. We were on live TV this morning. I say let's experiment.
Yeah.
And wow.
Yeah, I'm
I
hearing you
see
loud
you
and
there.
clear.
Maybe to a certain extent, that might even. You see that? See that, Derek? Let's just experiment. We were on live TV this morning. I say let's experiment. Okay, Derek. I'm now using my cell phone. It's going to be delayed, but I'm going to
Okay.
talk slower so that you. Yeah.
You'll have to talk slower.
Yeah. See that? See that, Derek?
We'll just be patient with each other.
Okay. Well, okay, Derek. I'm now using my cell phone. Mm-hmm. It's going to be delayed, but I'm going to talk slower. So that you. I think it's like a.
You have to talk slower.
I think it's like a 10-second delay. But Derek, tell me a little bit about your company.
Right now, I'm working with Sunrun Legacy Power. We're a solar company. We're the largest residential solar company in the nation, actually. We're located in 24 different states throughout the country. And we install residential solar panels. Right now, I'm working with Sunrun Legacy Power. We're a solar company. We're the largest residential solar company in the nation, actually. We're located in 24 different states throughout the country. And we install residential solar panels. Right now, we're installing solar panels to help people with their utility bills. Typically, you can reduce your utility bill anywhere from 20, 50%, based on the orientation of your home.
Hey, Derek, maybe you might want to cut your volume, your volume down because I hear the feedback.
Okay, let's try. All right, is that any better? Let's do this. No, that reverses the camera. Okay.
Volume down because I hear the feedback.
Okay, let's right. All right, is that any better? Can you hear me now, Nate?
Yes.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Let's do this. Can you hear me now, Nate? No, that reverses the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, let's right. So, Nate, can you hear me? All right. Is that any better? Can you hear me now, Nate?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yes. Let's do this. Can you hear me now, Nate?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I can hear you.
We straight now. I can hear you. You can hear me.
Also, Derek, do you have any headphones?
Yeah, but don't have them at my desk.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I can hear you.
We straight now.
Well, I'll tell you what. I tell you what, I'm going to throw on some earphones. I don't know if you have any earphones. You can kind of.
Yeah, but don't have them at my desk.
Okay. Yeah, because I think, I have my friend Granville Templeton, who I saw his comment, and probably got these. I tell you what, I'm going to throw on some earphones. I don't know if you have any earphones. You can kind of.
Yeah, don't have them at my desk.
Okay. Yeah, because I think, I have my friend Granville Templeton, who I saw his comment, and he's probably got these. I tell you what, I'm going to throw on some earphones. I don't know if you have the earphones. You can kind of.
So I guess we're still on a delay.
Yeah. Okay. I think, I have my
Go ahead and talk, man. I can hear you. I think we're in good shape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I can kind of hear the delay a little bit. I guess that's. Yeah, it's on the delay. And actually, on my end, I really can't hear you per se at all. It says here. Mm-hmm. But if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can kind of hear the delay a little bit. I guess that's. Yeah, it's on the delay. Okay.
Can you hear me, Nate?
Yeah, I'm kind of plugging into the phone where I've got the Facebook situation. So, but I tell you what, in the spirit of seeing you do your thing, give us a few minutes on your company and what you do and the whole solar panel piece. And I'm going to try to listen to it, even though it's got the delay.
Okay, my name is Derek Burnett. I'm with Sunrun Legacy. Power. Can you
This
see
bad
that?
boy. Right.
That's the company I'm with. We're the largest residential solar company in the country. We're presently located in 24 different states throughout the country. We provide solar panels to residential and commercial entities.
Okay. So Derek, actually here, I mean, I can see you perfectly, and I guess everyone we're broadcasting to can see you perfectly. My issue is that right now, and I've got my friend Alexis Coates, and he's saying it's perfect. The only issue is that I really can't hear you on my end, which is something I kind of need to work out from a technology standpoint. I'm glad to hear that Alexis and Granville are watching this. But if you can hear me, Derek, give us a few minutes on what you're doing. And my phone is spinning, so I can't really hear. I'm getting that little circle spin. So it's even even I can't hear the delay either. But everyone else is saying they can hear me. We hear both of you. Clearly, Earl says speak normally. Yeah, that's good to know, Earl. But on my end, I can't really hear anything per se, and that's kind of trying to work it out.
Right.
Yeah, as to why that would be. So, because all the speakers and everything are up to here, but
Yeah, you gotta.
But you know what? If you can hear me out there, Derek, why don't you take it from here and just talk a little bit about your company while I try to work this audio issue out?
Okay.
I'm going to make you the host. I'm going to make you the host. So you go ahead for while I work this audio. If you can hear me out there.
Okay, I'm gonna turn into the host. That's not a problem. Getting back to the company at hand, Sunrun. We've been in business over actually going into our 11th year. So things are looking well. The company is definitely progressing. I know a lot of people have seen solar panels going up on a lot of homes lately, a lot more than they did in years past. And the most major, I guess the major reason that is occurring is the fact that years ago, you had to purchase your solar panels. You had to purchase your solar panels to get them installed. But now these solar companies, we've come up with an opportunity and an option where you just you can lease your panels. So we'll install the solar panels, provide the equipment, do everything we need to do to get you up and running for no money out of pocket. No money out of pocket, no cash. All you got to do is have a 650 credit score. And with that 650 credit score, we can get you up and running. And the process usually takes about a 45 to 60 day process because this is a small construction project, and there's permitting and things of that nature that has to occur. Design documents, construction drawings, inspections. It's a 7-step process, and that process takes about 2 months. You got to get approvals naturally from BG&E. There's something called internet agreement, interconnection agreement that has to be approved, signed off by Baltimore Gas and Electric or whomever your utility provider, electric utility provider may be, saying that you allow our company to connect to the grid on your behalf. That's part of the process. So that's why it kind of takes 2 months to get this thing going. But lot of people can't believe, well, I can get these panels. I don't have to pay anything. No, you don't have to pay anything. Just got to have a 650 credit score. And I'm going to tell you, this thing actually works. It's an awesome way to save money. It's an awesome way to help the environment because we're reducing carbons that are actually being expelled into the air. And that's one of the major things associated with the implementation of this solar movement, I'm going to call it. It is because years ago, during the President Obama campaign, they put a criteria and a requirement on all utility companies that they must have a certain percentage of their electrical use being implemented by renewable energies. And that had to be accomplished by the year 2020. So you're not going to get any feedback or any fight from these utility companies because they're looking to try to bring on as many people as they can to help them meet this criteria implemented by the nation. And the reason they have to try to meet this criteria, because if they don't meet this criteria in reference to obtaining a certain amount of renewable energy customers by 2020, they'll be fined. So they're going to lose money. So, no business likes to lose money. So getting back to the project at hand, all I would need if anybody's interested, and I don't know how we could do this, Nate, but you can also inbox me. I have a Facebook page. All I would need is somebody's address, your email address, your property address, and your average monthly usage on your electrical bill side. And I could do a design. I could do a design right here on my iPad, and we can see if this thing could work out for you. I have a lot of different customers where this is providing great benefits and great savings for them. Can you imagine if you had a savings of, let's say, a couple $100 a month on your electric bill, on your utility bill, $200 a month for a period of a year? We're talking $2,400 a year. $2,400 a year over a period of 20 years. We're talking over $50,000 that you're going to save. And I want to say, why I say 20 years, that's another thing. Remember I said everybody wasn't purchasing these panels as fast years ago because the average solar system, the average 10 kilowatt solar system costs about $30,000. And the average individual really doesn't have $30,000 to kick out for solar panels and then have to sit back and wait 10 years to actually, let's say, receive a return on their investment, their ORI. It would take them 10 years to break even. And then after that 10-year period, they would start saving money versus leasing the panels. And that's the option, the financial vehicle that we're using to get these panels out to everybody. You got a 650 credit score. I can lease the panels to you, have them on your house in 2 months, and you can start saving energy in 3 months. I'll give you a prime example. I got a customer whose bill was on a budget billing plan. Budget billing where you pay the same thing every month for 12 months, no matter what. It was about $350 a month they was paying for electric. Now, their whole house was electric. They didn't have part gas, part electric. The whole house was electric. So everything they use in the house, heating, air conditioning, cooking, lights, naturally, everything's electricity. So we put the panels on the home, and we reduced that bill from $350 a month to $128 a month. So we reduced that bill $222 a month. That's a considerable amount of savings. I'm talking about cash money, out of your pocket. I'm sure the average individual, you got a 2,500 square foot home, you reduce your electric bill $220 a month. You can take that $220 a month. Nate, now I could be sending them to you. and you could tell them how to invest that $220. Man, I wish you could hear me.
You reduce your electric bill.
I guess you can't though.
You can take that $220 a month. Nate, I could be sending them to you. Tell them how to invest that.
So you can't hear me, Nate.
Well, you know, I hear you, Derek, but it's on delay.
Okay. All right, good. Go. Let's get back to this process then. Let's say I'll give you an example. Here go one of my customers' homes, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this. Let's try this. You know, technology is a beast, man. We can do all kind of things nowadays. Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, I'll do this way. Let me turn it this way. There you go. Yes. Can you see that? Trying to look at this upside down, man, so be patient with me. Yeah, there you go. Maybe this is as wide as I can spread it. You see that home here? That's a hip roof. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that, Nate? Where we got panels. We got panels on all four sides of this house. And the reason the panels are on all four sides.
See everything clearly.
Okay, cool. So everything on this house, the reason the panels are on all four sides is because the way this house is orientated, it receives sunshine on every component of this roof throughout the course of the day. So therefore, this particular customer is maximizing the absorption of the sun through their panels to reduce their electric bill. Orientation means a lot when you're putting solar panels on your home. Naturally, everybody knows the sun rises in the east, and it's always in the southern hemisphere, all right, and it sets in the west. Okay, on this particular home, the sun rises here, so the southern hemisphere is kind of this way. So in the morning, the sunshine hits these panels. And then the early morning is still hitting these panels. Then we get around 12 o'clock, it hit these panels. And then after 12, 1, 2, 3, it hit these panels. So this house is perfectly orientated to absorb this energy. And naturally, they're benefiting as a result of it. This is that customer I was telling you where they're saving over $200, $220 a month in their utility bill, and they didn't pay any money. They didn't pay any money out of pocket to get these panels installed. It took about 6 or 7. I mean, it only took 2, 3 months to get installed. Now they're saving for that. Matter of fact, let's see. These panels were installed last May. I know realistically, this person's utility bill for June, July, August, September, and November, they generated 0 kilowatts from BG&E. They used 0 kilowatts from BG&E, and the only thing they had to pay for was their lease. So I know this lease, the lease for these panels were $120 a month. That $120, that's the only thing they had to pay for was $120. So there was the savings. They went from $350 to $120. They saved $230 a month. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. You know, I get a lot of people question the process. Well, nothing's free, and realistically, as it relates to this scenario and situation, you know, the installation of these panels are free. All you got to do is qualify on a credit score, a 650 credit score. You know, and things will go straight. Let me see. The typical process, let me see. Let's do this. Let's talk about, okay, I'll go from one thing to another. I done turned it to the host. typical process. Let's do this. Let's talk about. Okay, let's do. I'll use this as a prop here. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Let's use this as a prop. Hey, can you see that? Can everybody see that? Maybe not. About here, is that better? Can everybody see that? Okay, this is a diagram stating how your home gets electricity. Okay.
Yep, we can see it.
You can see it.
We can see it, Derek.
Okay, good. Typically, your power is generated at a power station over here. All right. It goes from the power station to the power transformer.
Yep, we can see it.
From the transformer to the transmission station. From the transmission station to the distribution station. All right, let's do this. From the transmission station to the distribution station. From the distribution station to the transformer. From the transformer to your home. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 6 components that the electricity has to be distributed to and transformed through prior to getting to your home. So when your electric bill goes up, your electric bill goes up because of the constant maintenance and upkeep needed to keep all of these components of this electric grill up and running. Your electric bill goes up. That's why your bill goes up. You know, the cost to actually generate electricity pretty much stays the same, but the utility companies got to keep all of these components upgraded. You know, repairs, replacements. And they transfer that cost back to the user. Okay. Now, traditionally, let's say over the past, let me see, since 2002, the past 15, 16 years, I don't know people if you've been watching your kilowatt cost, but it's gone up over 60%. Traditionally, let's say in the last 15 years. That's about close to 4% every year. 4% increase every year. So another thing with solar, that's a great benefit. Once we get you on this lease program, your lease amount stays the same. So that's a budget amount that you're going to be able to count on and put in your budget and not be surprised by a high electric bill. You know, it's been cold, it's been freezing cold. The last 3 weeks, I'm sure everybody turned that heat up, but I tell you what, those that got solar, that electric bill it'll probably be a little higher because when we don't have as much sun during the winter time. That has a play as well, but you're going to benefit from the amount of savings that you're going to generate. Those that got solar, that electric bill. Let's do this. Now let's go from. Have a play as well, but you're going to benefit from the amount of savings. Okay. I'm trying not to get caught up in the delay because I can definitely hear it. Okay, now let's go to see how your house works when you put panels on your house. Now remember those 6 steps that we needed to get electricity into your house so you can get up and running. Okay, when you put panels on your home, you become the power plant. There's no distribution, there's no transformer, there's no substation. You become the power plant. The sun goes directly to the panels. From the panels, it goes to an inverter, and the inverter turns the electricity to DC electricity, which is direct current. It turns the direct current to alternating current. Okay, so we go from DC into the inverter, changes the alternating current. Then from there, we go to a meter, sunroom meter. That's how they determine how much energy that you're actually collecting on a daily, hourly, or every minute.
Into the inverter.
Then that electricity is generated into your substation, in your panel, inside your home.
Starting
And
meter.
then the electricity that you don't use in your panel goes to a net meter, which actually goes back to the grid. So let's say during the course of a day, a week, or a month, you're collecting more energy than you actually using. So the energy that you're not collecting or you're not using is being saved and stored in the grid such that you can use it at a later date and time. In our company, we don't charge you for overproduction. There's a few solar companies out there. Well, if you generate more electricity than what you actually need, they attach a fee to that. Fortunately, we're not that type of company. We're gonna let you keep and save as much energy and electricity as you can, so that you can apply it at a later date and time. Man, Nate, I wish you could kick in here and ask some questions, because I guess I know how radio hosts sound like now. You feel like you're talking to yourself, right? So let's just review this again. Now, this whole process.
Well, I see, we see you perfectly, and I certainly hear everything you're saying.
Okay, well, good. Okay, just on a review process, then this whole process, all occurs on your home, nowhere else. So that's why you can maintain and stabilize the cost of generating your electricity. It's another thing. This will be a 20-year lease if you do lease it. And that means we're going to monitor it and we're going to maintain it for 20 years. There's 24/7 monitoring. You actually be able to look and see how much energy that your system is absorbing through the use of your phone. Everybody's got phone apps nowadays. When you look at your phone, I know I have it on my home myself. I can look at my phone and see how many kilowatts of energy I'm producing every day. Typically on my house, I might generate anywhere from 58 to 78 kilowatts of energy every day. So I mean, it's great. I mean, I'm loving it. I'm a part of the solar movement. Let's transition to another conversation piece. I don't know if we can show all this. Okay, well, I'll give you an example. Okay, here, let's do this. Can you guys see this? I don't know if we can see this or not. This might be a little sketchy here. Maybe if I bring it a little closer. Okay, you can see here, this is this particular person's kilowatts that they were generating every month prior to solar. So they was generating these kilowatts, but they was paying for these kilowatts from BG&E. These are the months from I think this is December to April. December to April, they were paying for these kilowatts. You got 2,000, 4,000, 4,900, 3,700 kilowatts generated every month. And actually the kilowatt cost was somewhere like with BG&E, the kilowatt cost is 15 cents a kilowatt. With us, it's only 12 cents a kilowatt. And then look, after solar, now this is an actual BG&E bill, as y'all can see. After solar, after they implement those solar panels, look how many kilowatts they generated. That's May, June, July, August, September. They generated no kilowatts from Baltimore Gas and Electric during those 5 months, which means the only thing they had to pay for was their lease. Now, before, their bill was $350, $400 a month. They put in the panels. After the panels, now the only thing they're paying for is the lease, because they're generating so much electricity from the panels that they don't have to use any electricity from Baltimore Gas and Electric. They're just using electricity from the panels. So the only thing they're paying for is the cost to lease the panels. So that's how you get that direct correlation to your savings directly to your pocket, right? And here's an example of the actual bill. I don't know if you can see that. I got a customer's bill here. I think it was a distribution cost that they had to pay BG&E. What's that? $788? Can you see that? No, I can't. Maybe I can do it like this. I think that bill was $7.88. They went from $3.50 to paying BG&E $7.88, and then add that $7 to their $120. So they was paying $128 total for the use of the solar panels on a monthly basis. I mean, that's a phenomenal savings. Okay, so we're doing a little education here. Let's see, what else can I get you guys here? So we talked about leasing the panels. Well, let's go ahead and talk about. Let's say you decided that you wanna. Let's say you want to purchase the panels, because that option is available. Some people don't like leasing things. Some people may be financially well off where they can actually pay for the panels. Let's say you're gonna buy your panels. You're gonna pay $30,000 for your 10 kilowatt system. You're gonna purchase your panels. There are some benefits with that. Let's talk about those benefits. The benefits we were talking about, you're getting federal tax credits. Okay, you get 30% federal tax credits on the purchase of your panels. Let's say the system costs $30,000, so a 30% federal tax credit, that's $9,000. So now we down from $30,000 to $19,000. All right. The state of Maryland gives you $1,000 credit, so we'll reduce another $1,000. So now you're down to $18,000. You got certain jurisdictions and counties that'll give you property tax credit. I know I live in Baltimore County. I'm very abreast and aware of what's going on in Baltimore County. Baltimore County will give you a $5,000 property tax credit for the implementation of solar panels. If you purchase them, but you got to purchase them. Okay, $5,000. And right now, Baltimore County has a backlog of paying out, of providing that tax credit. It's a 2-year backlog. That's how many people have purchased those panels. But still, when your time and your number comes up for you to get that $5,000 property tax credit, you'll definitely be in line to get it. All you got to do is show your receipt, your contract, when you purchase your particular panels, and they'll apply that toward the payment of your tax credit, your property taxes. That's a great benefit as well. The only additional thing I know as it relates to those property taxes is that that $5,000, they break it up into 2-year increments. So you can only use $2,500 at a time. So $2,500 towards your property taxes 1 year, then actually the remaining $2,500 the next year that you want to use it. When you got older couples and older families, that might be one of the only bills they have. Excuse me, would be the utility bills, the property taxes. So you get an opportunity to reduce those bills. That actually turns into real profit, real cash in your pocket that people can benefit from. I'm not aware. I don't think Baltimore City has anything in place yet. I've been trying to do some research. I haven't come up with anything as of yet. If anybody knows of a program that Baltimore City has,
Derek, we've got a question out there from Taryn Gross.
Sure. I can't hear it, so Nate, you're gonna have to tell me, and then I'll respond.
Oh, it's hopefully you can see it. I put it up on the screen.
You put it up. No, I can't. I can't see them. All I see something says wait here, and we will indicate Nathan Chapman that you are here. They've already done that.
Okay. The question. It says, will the free stored energy stay in place for customers in the future?
Yes. It'll stay stored on the grid, on BG&E's grid for you for future use. Yes, it will. Will the free stored energy stay in place for customers in the future? Yes. It'll stay stored on the grid, on BG&E's grid for you for future use. Yes, it will.
Great. Well, thank you for that question. If there quite frankly, if anyone has questions for Derek, what you can do is just post them on the site for right now. We'll be in the future looking to at ways in which folks can contact the folks that are being interviewed. But if you post your questions and Derek he checks them, I'm sure he can reply to them and kind of help you with this, because I'm a believer in the solar panel technology. Derek, I wish we could have some solar panels in some of these Baltimore City schools that seem to not be able to keep the schools warm for our students.
Man, you know what? I hate to say it, and that's so true. There's so many different schools that have solar panels and other entities and other parts of the state and even the country. I think, I just don't want to throw nobody under the bus, but they're just behind. Unfortunately, they're just behind. They're in the process of going through a lot on the construction side, I know, trying to renovate those buildings. But to me, it doesn't make sense not to renovate the buildings without having solar panels. It really doesn't. It's like you're content on being locked into the past, being a part of history. And solar energy is definitely the cutting edge. That's where you want to be. Because I'm sure they would love to reduce some of those electric bills that they're generating. I can imagine. I would be glad to help them. I've got all kind of connections where we can do some things, but I'm sure there's some people that's already connected there. That's too big of a population of facilities and square footage where somebody's not already in somebody's ear trying to get them to transition a few of those properties with solar panels. They could definitely use that cost. And see, when you implement those solar panels on those schools, now you come up with extra money. Now,
Derek, you're pretty big in the solar panel game. Talk a little bit about your role in the company.
Okay, well, I'm like a regional manager. I'm always looking for budding new entrepreneurs, because this is an entrepreneurial type business. You only get paid. You only eat what you kill. So you have to have a pretty strong constitution. You got to have a level of energy that you're going to constantly pursue. But I think it's a great opportunity for somebody who's trying to make some money, and even if you're just trying to make some extra money. I mean, based on your contacts, your connections, and the people you know, you might be able to generate and sell 10 of these systems. You sell 10 kilowatt systems a year at $2,500 a piece.
Now, how long have you been in the game?
I've been doing this. Let's say I'm going into my third year. I'm going into my third year actually of being a design and sales rep. Because my background's in architecture and engineering. I've always loved solar energy. That was one of my specialties, subject matters when I was studying in school. I'm a graduate of Hampton University. I got a degree in Bachelor of Architecture, professionally accredited degree in architecture from Hampton. And years ago, and we could talk about that. When I was studying solar while I was a student, the cost of a photopholectic cell in the 80s, for one cell, it was $78. Today, that's for same photopholectic cell is 78 cents. That's why the cost of solar energy and implementing these panels and these systems on people's homes have come down to an affordable entity. Before, it really wasn't affordable. It's kind of a pie in the sky type concept. Yeah, that sounds good, but it costs too much. We can't implement it. But today, it can be implemented. So, can you hear me, Nate? Yeah, I'm sure you can hear.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody has an opportunity.
You're from Hampton. I saw where you commented on Monica Jones's site. Were you part of that Hampton alumni group?
Oh yeah, no doubt. We bleed blue all day long. There's a saying, "Let your light do the singing." That's a part of our alma mater where, the things you do have a reflection on who you are and where you come from. I love Hampton. Hampton has a special place in my heart. I met my lovely wife in Hampton. So that was the beginning of my family. So, you can never say nothing wrong about Hampton.
Mm-hmm.
You got any more questions? I guess we don't have any more questions.
I also noticed you're a member of Phi Beta Sigma.
Yes, I am. We actually had our, excuse me, we had our 104th Founders Day celebration yesterday, January 9th. 1914 was the date that we were actually founded from the Beta Gamma chapter, Hampton University. Culture for service, service for humanity. That's our motto. We had 3 founders. We have a lot of activities going on this week. Matter of fact, today is Wednesday, the 10th. We got a Founders Day breakfast on Saturday morning. We have a Founders Day cabaret Saturday night down at the Forest Park Senior Center. We have we're going to church Sunday morning. So we're a lot of brothers we're getting together. Zeta Sigma chapter here in Baltimore. Proud member and participant. We're going to do a lot of positive things, man. We've been doing a lot of things throughout the course of the year. It's just our time to celebrate ourselves. I know next year we're fortunate. We're going to be hosting a regional here in Baltimore. We're going to be hosting the regional conference for Phi Beta Sigma in Baltimore this year, April 2018. So, there's going to be a lot of Sigmas in the area, and a lot of chance to make some money for anybody who's in that type of business where you can reach out and benefit from the fact that you're going to have this influx of thousands of brothers coming to town during the course of a week. So for any other businesses out there you want to reach out, probably reach out to me. I'll give you some exact dates, and you can try to figure out your schedule and how you can be a part of our regional conference.
Mm-hmm. But Derek, I'm going to reach out to you because I want to carry the conference on the Wii.
Okay, well that sounds good, man. I'm gonna connect with that. I'm sure you know. Do you know Scott Phillips? I know you know Scott Phillips. So I'll make sure Scott connects with you. And realistically, Nate, Scott's gonna be another one of your guests.
I've got you on that 10-second delay, so we're gonna correct that. And you're coming on today, kind of pointed out some things that I need to make sure that we correct. But I'd love to get with Brother Phillips and talk to him a little bit more about how we can do that. Because as you see, with a cell phone, all you need is maybe you can be our host of the Phi Beta Sigma convention. Because with a cell phone, you're on the air. And in fact, we're launching some fraternity Greek type channeling programming, and where we hope to bring in all the Greek groups and talk about various issues, because a lot of the fraternities, sororities, more fraternities have been under pressure because some of the things that have happened with fraternities, and many of the fraternities have had chapters kicked off campus and so on. And I think we need to put a more positive message out there about Greek life and those of us who are part of the Greek life community.
I think that's a great concept, Nate. I'll be glad to participate in that in any way I can. Any way I can, no doubt. We're having a great influence and impact on a lot of people in the city, especially African American males. Mm-hmm. The more African American males you can touch.
Derek, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I know that you're a working man, and we look forward to having you back. And I know you have a lot of opinions about issues, even over and above solar paneling. I saw some of the comments you made on Monica Jones's site. So we want to get you back to talk about other issues as well. So I want to thank you. And when I hear at the end of this, I'll probably sign you off, and we'll continue on.
Very good, Nate. Thanks a lot for the opportunity, man. I want to say, get a shout out to my brother, Donnie Glover as well. I think Donnie helped out a lot of us. This my man right here. If y'all haven't got it, take an opportunity, pick up this book, Unapologetically Black, by my brother Donnie Glover. It's a great read.
Oh
You'll
man,
enjoy
you're
it.
100% right. I mean, we got to make sure we mention Be More News.
Yeah, no doubt.
man.
Be More News is up and running, doing a lot of great things in the city, man. That's the news before the news, as Donnie said. So thanks a lot, Nate. Look forward to making another connection with you. Glad I could be a part of this. We're going to have to make this happen. If anybody has any additional questions or concerns, don't hesitate to call me. You can call me at this number here, Darrell Burnett. We can talk solar all day long. I can specifically put together a system for you and make that happen. We good? I guess we're going to be signing off, huh?
That's great advertising, man. That's clear as day.
All right, very good. Thanks a lot, Nate. Talk to you later.
That's great advertising, man. That's clear as day. Signing off. Talk to you later.
Thanks a lot, Nate. Talk to you later.
All right, we're back with just me. And it's interesting, you know, we go through trying to do various things, and I appreciate Derek coming on. He's a great businessman and a longtime friend, and it helped us experiment a little bit with the technology and trying to see how things work. In fact, I'm going to cut my cell phone off back here because that was I was on a delay. Yeah, mute that because, what was happening was, I'd say something and 10 seconds later it would appear on the Facebook, which is quite interesting, to kind of time the comments with his comments. So we'll have to, tomorrow's show, by the time tomorrow rolls around, I will have corrected that. So I'm sure that whatever feedback you guys can give me, I certainly would appreciate it. And I really appreciate Taryn Gross to give her comments out there. We want more comments like that we can get from you out there, and we want more people linking in. In fact, that for you guys that are on the We, and if you will click on that link, we'd be happy to bring you on. So I don't know, Granville, Alexis, if you guys are out there, feel free to chime in, and we can shoot a fat for this last hour. And kind of make it happen. I'm really happy to be able to give a plug out there for Be More News and what Donnie is doing. I've appeared on Be More News several times on this show, the Donnie Glover Show, which is aired here right off of the We. So we're going to continue on and just talk about it, various issues. There's also, in filling up 24/7 of programming, we'll be talking about health issues. Many of us have, had things that we'd like to share and things that we've been able to persevere on. We'll be talking about fitness issues. There's all kinds of fitness issues that are out there. People doing things. I shouldn't say fitness issues, but fitness itself. Everything from yoga to doing things that are more mindful. I was talking to a person who's likely to come on and do some stuff there. Kind of the problem is that we're going to have to do a little bit of it without music because Facebook is not real big on, music, being involved in what we're doing right now, making sure that most people have rights to the music they use and stuff like that. And so we're not likely to do that, which is why I don't really have a big musical intro. Very likely to do an intro, very likely so that you see behind me, in addition to the map, we're very likely to put our We logo up there. You'll see some changes and stuff as we respond to you because you tell me stuff. I see it either on the Facebook comments, or I see it with people who are just reaching out to me. And so My goal is to respond to the comments, to continue to make the show better and better and better. And also, as we experiment the technology, to make things a little bit more clear and easier to flow. For instance, you never know until you really get out there. You can experiment here in the office all you want, all in the studio, all you want, until you get out there and see how things are working. You just don't know. And I'm really kind of pleased with kind of the progress we're making. For those of you who followed us, today was our actual first split screen interview. And I can split the screen with 3 people. So in addition to Derek, we could have had one more person. It could have been 3 of us online and to talk about issues, debate issues, get information out there, chop it up. And so that's kind of the next stage. Don't be surprised if you see that we are split screening with 3 people and really keep posted, because we're going to talk about a lot of different things and there are going to be people on here who are going to have different perspectives. As you saw on Donnie Glover's show, it can get pretty hot. People who are talking about things that they care about. And as we put the news out there, for example, one of the things that seems to be dominating the news right now is whether Oprah should run for president or is running for president. There may be some of you out there who have some strong feelings about that. To see what we're happening. And I see Tyra's comment, will you have a show on the Bitcoin? Well, yeah, we're going to be, I mentioned earlier that we'll probably launch another show at another time, strictly on investments, and bringing in people to talk about investments and talking about things like Bitcoin, marijuana stocks, other things that are high growth, because that's one of the keys of making money. You need to be invested in things that are growing, not invested in things that are kind of headed the other way. So then figure out which thing should I be invested in? What should I do as far as Bitcoin? What should I do as far as investing in stocks that are high growth? Yes, we'll have a show that's completely dedicated to that. And I'd like to thank Donnie Glover for that feedback and that idea. The show is likely to be called Chapman Means Money. And you guys can respond to the title. Tell me what you think. Chapman Means Money speaks to a lot about my background, which we've talked a little bit about, the whole entrepreneur side and the investment banking side of what was really the majority of my life. Even in college, my major was economics and political science, and I minored in accounting. So, which was what led me into becoming a CPA at Peat Marwick Mitchell. Peat Marwick is still the largest public accounting firm in the world. And I worked in the Baltimore office and worked on many national accounts, but for the most part, worked on investment banking firms. And so my background in doing the accounting of investment banking firms gave me a unique perspective when it was time for me to start my own. I kind of knew what needed to be done as far as the accounting side of it. My time at Alex Brown gave me a little experience about what needed to be done from the investment side. So I was able to put it together and uniquely form a company. And I've been involved between Alex Brown and Chapman and probably thousands of underwritings where people have tried to raise capital. The other day, my girlfriend's father, he's 88, I believe. He likes to go to the Golden Corral restaurant. Well, I remember Golden Corral when we took it public when I used to work at Alex Brown. And I think about that back in the old days, companies like Snapple and others that we took public back in the old days, even BET. Alex Brown was a part of the BET underwriting. So those are experiences that I hope to in that show to talk a little bit about that. And that's something we want to do. The comment out there, have you advocated with the city yet? This is the time. Well, we plan to talk about, and those, I'm actually reacting to some questions that I've seen on the screen. Thank you so much for those questions. Please keep them coming. Well, we're advocating there are different people who are advocating in different ways. Like Donnie Glover's show, I mean, he advocates in pretty significant way a lot of city issues, and has done so for some time. And we'll be bringing others who have this city and other cities in mind to advocate for and to talk about issues and kind of cross-pollinate issues. That's what we're hoping to do as we develop the 6 to 9 time slot for you to know that we're consistently. Now that I can de-ice my car, we are consistently going to be here from 6 to 9, talking either you'll see my face or you guys will help me out by putting in some comments and eventually as we work out this audio where I can actually hear your questions without the time delay, be able to react to your questions and to talk about some of the things that you want to talk about, because this is a two-way program. Some of you, I know there's some people who say, well, look, I don't know if I want to be on television first thing in the morning, or not television, but I don't want to be on Facebook Live first thing in the morning. But I'm hoping that maybe you just do your face or something on the phone and we don't have to see, you could be in a robe, but we're just seeing your face because that's where you have the phone pointed and we can still chop it up with you because or that you're an early riser like myself. I get up fairly early in the morning, as I said, just in general, even before I started doing the show and started doing my thing. But now, it's hard to say how much I even sleep, because I'm out the door by 4, so I'm like up by 3:15, and that's kind of my schedule. But to be honest, I was getting up early before. So I said, well, here's a place where early risers like myself can come, or people who are getting themselves together, early risers because they have to get to work, or early risers because they have to deal with children, and see someone who's chopping it up, both on a national level and in issues that I hope are some interest to you in particular. Like what we were talking about earlier with the coal being such a real issue, and some of the things that I've seen out there are people, my own personal experience with not being able to get in my car because it was iced over, something I didn't expect when I was planning my schedule to get in here, or other comments like what I was mentioning of the young lady who said that she came off the bus and immediately slipped, and 6 times getting home, that she did that, and just maybe what we can do about that, and the products that we can recommend, and maybe to put on your shoes. There's different shoes that you can wear, something, techniques to kind of get you through the bad weather, because it's a real issue right now, of what we're dealing with. The weather is supposed to be better, but we're not through the winter yet. And maybe there is a chance for you to go out to get some things to prepare for the next go around, the next storm. As I said, I've already got my de-icer, so that shouldn't be an issue. The next time I go out 4 o'clock in the morning and I see my car covered with ice, I can turn around and get that can of de-icer and start to spray down my door and hopefully be able to get inside so that I can get here, because the show must go on. And I want to make sure that we do exactly that the show does go on. So as I kind of learn, things, I want to make sure I put them out there, because as you deal with issues, you can probably trust that, everybody, many people are dealing with the same issue, and everybody's dealing with some issue that perhaps on the show that we can expose and solve together. And that's what we're hoping to do, that this is not just me talking all morning, which, if I have to, I will. And I love to talk, but I really, as I said, I really form the show because I like people. And I like it when Derek calls in, or I see, or Alexis or the other folks kind of chime in, because that's what we're hoping to make this happen. You saw the split screen technology, so we're putting it to work. And as we perfect it, it'll be even better. To make sure that we are in a position where, that we can make that as seamless as possible. One thing I can see though, here is my earphone. There's a little feedback that I see now, and because you hear my broadcast and I hear yours, and so to kind of get the feedback, I did a little research live. And it seems like that one of the things that deal with that is that for both parties to wear earphones. So what you'll probably see is that when we go into that split screen mode, where I'm kind of getting comments back and forth to keep the feedback down, you might see me throw on the old earphones to make sure that, that I'm not, that this is as pleasurable as possible, and you're not listening to something that has a bunch of feedback and delayed noise and all that kind of stuff. And I want to make sure that our guests who come on the show also realize that, if you've got some earphones, they'll plug them in, because that'll keep things a little bit more quiet from the feedback perspective. But that's how you test it out on live. We're live right now, right at the moment. You look at your watch. This is live. This is not something that was recorded at some point previously and is now playing. We're sitting here live. If I kick over one of these lights accidentally, you'll see the place go dark live, and it's kind of fun. It's to me. I like the live TV part of it. When Facebook Live first launched and YouTube Live, and now you can go Instagram with some live features. That's pretty exciting. Live TV and making it happen. And also you're live. When I'm live, you're live. So whatever's happening with you at the moment is being put out there, and we want you to enjoy it as we evolve the programming, as we evolve what we do and say on a global basis. Because you've heard me say that now many times, that I'm hopeful that some of my friends and watchers who are different parts of the world will find the show and click on the link to join us. Don't give up. The We123 is our username in Facebook. The We123 is our username. I'm also hopeful that you will share this video. You'll follow us and share this video so other people know that we're here as we evolve together. And kind of do things where we can kind of stay with each other. As you can see, we'll do stuff on the fly here. When Derek couldn't connect right away, I was willing. He called me on my cell phone. Now, how many times have you seen that? Where Good Morning America or Morning Joe or something, somebody calls them right on the cell phone live, a guest, and they go right to it. They try to fix some stuff. And so we were able to do some stuff to get him on here live. But that's what we bring to the table, that kind of live point of view. And then he comes on, even though, and we make it happen. And that's kind of the show must go on, and we'll make it happen one way or the other. So those are the kind of things that we're hopeful to do. And I'm, periodically I'll look over to see if we've got a comment that we can raise up and talk about. Additionally, if you are someone who wants to come on to the show and you've got a point of view or something to say, that is reasonable. As I said, if you come on going for bad, or I put you on video and you immediately give me the finger, click. Or if you come on and you want to do some pornography stuff, click, because that's not the program we're putting out. We're trying to put out something that hopefully will help you, that you'll enjoy. We can talk about the news in an enjoyable fashion because everyone has a point of view. It's not just the people who show up here as guests in the morning and you just hear their point of view. We've got some things that we think are worthwhile, but it is not, and worthwhile hearing, but it's not the kind of thing that, we think we're that way alone. You've got some things that are worthwhile hearing. You've got some things that we are looking to bring on board, to do some things with, and you've got talents and gifts that we want to bring out. And this is the place to do it. As we go with live streaming, and we go with live Facebook, and we go with YouTube Live, and all of that, all these platforms, eventually it's going to be pretty easy. You won't have to come through your cell phone. They will expand the technology. But today it's a cell phone thing. So wherever you are, if you've got some news and things that are happening, we'll put you in the game. Just as I was talking to Derek, what I envision at the Sigma conference is Derek and maybe 2 or 3 other guys just taking their cell phones around and doing it, and kind of putting it out there and putting the conference out there, and we'll bring it online. We'll split screen. Just imagine we got 3 guys with 3 cell phones walking around the conference, maybe even 3 different locations. And these guys are telling us what's happening at the conference, this conference, and other conferences where we can do the same thing because we're 24/7. And so at a certain point in time, we'll launch that fraternity, sorority, Greek life channel. Because quite frankly, as we kind of talk about Greek life, and we say Greek life, that's for those of us who, in college pledged to fraternity or sorority, it's been given a kind of a bad hit. Some of the fraternities have actually killed people and allowed people to die during the hazing process. That's kind of ridiculous. If anybody knows anything about what it means to pledge a fraternity, it's about brotherhood, and it's about making sure that you are doing things in the community and helping you academically. That's the whole thing of all that hazing and stuff. That's not fraternity. It's a perversion of what it's supposed to be all about. And I quite frankly, just in general, believe that the good side of fraternity needs to be put out there. And some of the most important people in my life, I met through conventions and other times where they were at a convention or something like that. I remember, I'm an Alpha, Alpha Phi Alpha, so I'm an Alpha, and I was at an Alpha fraternity convention up in Chicago, and this was back in the old days when I was still in college. And the publisher of Ebony Magazine, John Johnson, was there, and the publisher of Jet Magazine was there, two dominant publications in this country. And we sat chewing the fat, just like we're sitting around this table chewing the fat, and just talking to them about various issues. And it was very interesting to me. And it's the kind of thing that you get to do within the fraternity setup. And whether you've got members who are in different fraternities, and you get a chance when they get together and then go out into the community and help. So I'm hopeful because there are those people who believe that fraternities separate us, that different fraternity groups, that the alphas are against the sigmas, the kappas. That's just ridiculous, in my opinion. We're all just trying to do something positive. We're all just trying to be in a position where we can be very positive with each other. So, I want to make sure that we promote everybody. My godson, who's a Kappa, just became one. So a lot of times when you just become a member of a fraternity, you're much more hyped about it. My godson's he's at West Point, and the other day it was kind of funny. I look at my website and he's got his West Point uniform on, and he opens his shirt, and underneath he's got the Kappa Alpha Psi stuff on with his red and white suspenders under his West Point uniform. See, I understand. When you first get into it, you're like, oh boy, this is the thing. It's so hyped, and stuff. And it was interesting. But I'd like to, maybe if he gets a moment, just talk about his pledge experience. Pledging during, actually, I think he pledged just before he went into West Point. So, but to talk about that would be interesting. And maybe even talk about what it's like to kind of go through West Point these days, with there being so much concern about what's happening in North Korea and different parts of the world, what it means to kind of be training to be a soldier in the United States right now. So maybe my godson might, if he has a moment, we get him to come in here and chew the fat with us. He's one of the most talented young men that I've ever met. I've known him forever. Of course, I know him godson, godfather. I've known him a long time. And his mother also is a very accomplished person. You can get her to come on. She's a world traveler. So, again, this is a show for the people. So we want you guys to come on board and to see what we're doing, and to chew the fat and knock it back with us. And that's really kind of the hope. And as we talk about issues, briefly, I kind of, just to circle back a little bit, I kind of touched on that whole Oprah for president thing. And for those around the world who are listening to us right now, my friends in different parts of the world, Oprah is kind of a household name here in Baltimore because, in a sense, here's where she kind of got her start. She used to do a show called Two-Way Talk here. And back in those days, I used to appear occasionally on Channel 13 as well, talking about the market and so on. So I would see Oprah fairly often. And now, of course, she's boomed into something much bigger than Two-Way Talk and the local news that she used to do here. She's Oprah the icon, Oprah the legend. She's like one word, and you say Oprah, you don't have to say anymore. There's certain people, Michael, either you're talking about Michael Jackson or Michael Jordan, but Michael Jackson, not so much, but because he's passed. But now you say, hey, Michael said this or Michael did that. You pretty much know, that who we're talking about. And Oprah has kind of evolved to that one syllable person. She left Baltimore, went to Chicago, got even bigger, and she just took off. So, back in the day when she was here, we used to see each other on the show network every once in a while. And I'm not sure she remembered me. We're talking about so far back in the day. If people likes to occasionally joke with me about that's when I had hair. Back in the day when I had hair. But Just heard the thought of her running for president to me is a very good thought. And I like to see the competition out there. Maybe some other high profile people get into the game. You hear people like The Rock, Dennis Johnson. Yeah, he's saying he wants to run on the Republican side, though, I believe. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but The Rock, he doesn't put too much of an edge on it today, and he probably shouldn't, what his opinions are, because you're going to have people that agree and disagree and don't want him to have it affect his career. But he's talking about a run for president. And so these people who have been celebrities are now evolving into people who want to be political, who have something to say that we will watch because of who they are. I can just imagine a presidential debate that included Trump, The Rock, Oprah, and there's just one or two other people that kind of have escaped my mind that have said that they are people that could possibly get into the game and run for president. But it would be kind of entertaining. But it's such a serious thing. The job of president is such a serious thing that although it would be entertaining to see these folks to kind of just be together and do their thing, it is a job that that has to be taken with a lot of somber reflection because of the importance of it and the effect that you have on so many people's lives around the world. But having said that, I think any of those guys, given what I know about their backgrounds, we're more than prepared to do the president's job. Now, if you disagree with me, let me know. You just click on the link, and you can let me know if you disagree with any of that, or if you agree with me. Click on the link and let me know. Click twice if you agree with me. No, I'm just joking. But at the end of the day, that's the world that we're living in right now, a world where the entertainers are looking to become president. Now, quite frankly, it kind of, to me, it's a little bit of an evolution because there was a point in time that ministers, people who were church leaders, were thought to be folks that were being pushed to become elected officials. And there are a few. I certainly have known a few church leaders in my time who have been elected officials, not as many as that you might have thought, because there are people who feel strongly both ways. There are people who feel that politics would be helped if it had more people who had a strong religious background, that the nature and the ethics and the morals of some of the politicians today could benefit from people who were religious leaders. And so those people who believe that we should really be pushing folks who are religious leaders to run for office. There are other people who feel the exact opposite, that religious leaders, that their role is in the church and that they should not be put into that environment where they are elected leaders, that they shouldn't be elected leaders, that they should stay in the church and do their thing in the church, and their calling was to be in the church. I'm kind of a view, given some of the politicians I've met in my life, if you have a view to try to get some sinners converted, then you then you need to go to some of these state houses and also Congress, because you will find your fair share of sinners to work with. So, especially some of the issues that you hear coming out now. And that's something, too, I want to touch on. That whole Me Too movement. There are people, the other day, Catherine Deneuve, who was one of my favorite actresses in her day. She certainly got a lot older now and looks a little different than when she was younger, but she's come out now against the Me Too movement. What do you guys think about that? Is the Me Too movement right on and it's going to change the world and that it's going to be different for women? Or do you think it's gone too far? Do you think it's now going to be a little bit of backlash against women? And you think that maybe there's some way that we ought to kind of tone it down? Is it something that's changed the world forever? Or is it just something that is for right now and things are going to go back to business as usual? I saw the other day where, there's just some fresh people on ESPN that have been accused of sexual harassment. It's the quarterback, used to be with the Eagles. I forget his name. I can kind of see his face in my mind's eye. I just can't call his name. And, just text me if you remember his name. I'll try to put it out there. Not text me, but, comment on the site. And, people like him and others that are losing their jobs. The other guy who used to be the running back for the Rams, who was Mr. Everything, for them. I mean, he's losing his sports job because he said some inappropriate things. Where do you stand on the Me Too movement? The Me Too women were on the cover, I think, of Time magazine. They were really big within the whole Golden Globe movement and the whole thing of wearing black. There was some actress that didn't go along with that. She wore a different color and she was highly criticized. But maybe she didn't have any black. So, but she was highly criticized. And I'd be interested to, for me as a father of daughters, I believe in it. I want my daughters to have all the potential that they can possibly have without, some guy feeling like they can push them, try to get them to do something sexual or that they can touch them in some way inappropriate or say something out their mouth the wrong way just because they're a woman. For me as a father of daughters, I don't particularly like that. And at the same time, I know that there are people out there who don't see it quite that way. I mean, there are people who at times are just not funny. Maybe they don't mean things as the way they're seen, but then there are people who will try you, as we used to say. There are guys out there who will try you and just see how far they can go with it. And that's a little bit of that's nature, man. But and now we got to maybe change that nature. We're not beasts anymore. And you just can't continue to kind of put it out there in a negative way to women or a sexually suggestive way to women when you wouldn't do that. When you don't expect the treatment to come back the other way. Or, it's not a man-to-man thing. Not normally. It can be. There have been some complaints even among the homosexual community with the Kevin Spacey. And some of the things that he said, I remember I saw Kevin Spacey once. I was at the fight. Who was it? I think it was Evander Holyfield, and he was fighting that guy who was the heavyweight champion from England who had the dreadlocks. I forget his name, but I was at that fight. I had some ringside seats, and Kevin Spacey was there. And the thing I remember about Kevin Spacey is, first of all, when you see these actors and actresses in person, they're so tiny. They say television adds a lot to your weight, and I believe that. But when I see some of these guys in person, they're like tiny. The other thing that I remember when I saw Kevin Spacey, and I'm going to just say it, okay? He had this gigantic hickey on his neck. I mean, like that, hickey on his neck. And I'm thinking, I didn't know the guy was homosexual. Nothing wrong with that. If that's where you go. I mean, I have plenty of friends that are homosexual. But, that's the way it was. He was in his crowd. And actually, when I saw him from afar, it was, he kind of stood out. Because also, he's kind of, when I saw him, he looked kind of like a pale guy. His skin was very pale. So it was the one time that I ever saw him. But I got into the whole Kevin Spacey thing because, even in the homosexual community, and quite frankly, I may just speak to some of my friends who are homosexual because maybe there's a little programming piece for them too on the We, and see if there is some programming aspect of it that they like to put out there as well, because we is everybody. The we is if you're foreign born. The we is if you have a different sexual orientation than what I might have, or we are a different religion. The we is everybody, and we got to respect everybody as people. Some of the great, the whole homosexual thing. Alexander the Great, one of the biggest, most fierce fighters groups that he had were some guys who were homosexual. I mean, those guys were butt kickers for Alexander the Great. And if you read your history books, you'll see that. Not the way I go, but I respect if someone else is that way for whatever reason. You're still my man. You're still my friend. And as I said, I have many friends who are homosexual. So, not to put too fine an edge on that, it's kind of like saying I got many friends that are white or something. It kind of sounds funny. People say I got black friends and all. Sounds a little funny sometimes. You just got friends. And, there are people that you like, people that you don't like. And they could be whatever background. At least that's been my experience. So, but we're going to try to find on the We a place for everybody, a place for varied opinions, for the most part. As I said, as long as you don't come on here, going for bad, coming on, hey, you brought me on, Nate. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a finger. No. Because one thing I have learned how to do is click that little button and you're gone. Or if if I bring you on and you want to engage in some pornography or something like that, if I bring you on and the first thing I see is like a big behind or something on the picture, click, you're gone. But barring stuff like that, hey, I'll put you in the game, and we'll get you on and get your opinion, hear what you have to say, and try to get some other people to react to it, and that's what we're all about here. So we're now moving. This is our first week. And I thank those people who are participating, in putting themselves in the mix to help me work out some of these glitches, these tech glitches that unless you put yourself out there and you see how people respond to you, you just never know that they exist. So you put yourself out there and put the broadcast, and we respond to it as I say, the kind of the MIT way of putting it out there. And I'm always inviting people from all over the world. I'm going to have to make some long distance phone calls. I see to get some of my friends to kind of click in because we want to test that out too. We've been testing a little bit in the U.S., but I also want to test this thing to see how it works globally with our friends and see if they're willing to come on and kick it and chew the fat and all of that. The potential of what we're trying to do is global because we're trying to take on the 24/7 programming, and you'll hear about that. You continue to hear me say that because as you see more and more people come into the WE, and you'll see more and more videos being done, it's because of that mission we have of being able to get more people out there to talk about various things, to create content that you might be interested in, to give you information on things that you might be interested in, and to kind of talk a little bit about the issues. Today was great because it was the first time that we did certain technology. It seems to be working for the most part seamlessly. And then there's other technology we found out about that I need to tweak a little bit probably after this is all over. So you'll be hearing, so as we perfect this thing, a month from now, perfecting it in all ways, we want to be able to continue to bring you something that's unique, bring you something that is interesting, and not just simply me talking. Although I'm prepared to do as we work this thing out. To continue to to put my perspectives out there and to talk a little bit. But we are going to be bringing in some folks from all over the world to talk about various things that they're involved in. As we will physically be bringing people here to the headquarters, we'll be changing, maybe putting up a little WE banner behind us with little props, maybe have few more props up here. What you do, to try to evolve things, to continue to make things better as we both are on this journey. This unique way of dealing with social media from a two-way talk perspective. So as you participate in the two-way talk, just like with radio, the whole two-way talk, but instead of doing it with radio, we are doing it with social media. And so it's not, hey, Nate, who are you going to have as a guest? You're my guest. When you're ready to click on that link, the more you look to find the WE 123 and you click on that bad boy, then boom, you'll be here. And just like Derek today, we'll put you in the game and we'll chew the fat with you and we'll continue to perfect things. So I'm really thankful for Derek to do that. He was actually the first person we did the two-way screen with, and we learned a lot about solar panels and how it's affordable for everyone. And I certainly encourage everyone to kind of, reach out to him, either through comments you might make on the site, or he put his business card up there, which is another, I thought that was pretty novel. This card was crystal clear. I mean, I could read it. And what you have the ability to do, you don't have to write it down. Basically you can get the video and you can kind of roll forward to where that was and boom, there it is. You didn't have to scribble it down real quick. If there's any kind of part of his presentation that you want to hear more about, just, access the video and roll forward to it. And there you have it. So which is a unique aspect of the technology that we want to bring, and then we'll have, it's not just shows hosted by me. We'll have shows hosted by a bunch of other people, like Donnie. Donnie's the first person other than myself to host a show. We have some others that we're working with, considering with right now to fill up slots. And So we're going to provide some stuff that we hope that is interesting and has a lot of different perspectives. If you can imagine, there are TV networks, and the TV networks normally have programming that's 24/7 these days. It wasn't always that way, but it's certainly that way now. And you might say that morning slot is what I take up. That 6 to 9 slot. I pretty much take that up, kind of what I call my Morning Joe Chris Como slot, because I used to watch those guys in the morning. And so instead of watching them, I have to kind of become them. I got to put my spin of, if I was doing this, what I would do differently, kind of thing. But then there's so many slots to go beyond that, then filling up to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week of various programming from various points of view. We might even have something to do with comedy. I like to make folks happy, to bring some comedians on board or others, kind of low comedy piece. And if there's some segments out there that you say, well, this might be good. If you were to do this, let me know. And I'll be happy to kind of consider it and see what we can do. Facebook, the way it works with Facebook is they let you do 90-minute segments and then it's boom, they cut you off. So although I say I'm rolling from 6 to 9, it's not really truly 6 to 9. It's more like 6 to 8:45 because I'm not looking to test Facebook. One thing I'm talking in the mid sentence, boom, you're gone. I'd rather just kind of be able to kind of, sum it up in a professional way. We still evolving that because, some graphics that I can put on the scene, kind of, say, okay, thank you for watching our broadcast or something like that. And still kind of evolving that if you're interested. But most folks kind of understand if I say, okay, we've reached that point where the show is over, you think, okay, the show is over. You're probably going to click off before you even see the graphic. But that's kind of the thinking. Facebook gives you 90 minutes on live broadcasts. And after that, it's like, it's over, boy, cut it. And so we're trying to stay within the guidelines of Facebook because we don't want to have ourselves cut off. I was talking to Alexis, who one of the folks you see out there, and he was telling me how Ricky Smiley got cut off the other day, and he's kind of huge. But I think his issue was music. He was playing some music that they thought, that or either music or he was too promotional. I forget because, Facebook is trying to sell their own ads. So they're not looking for you to sell an ad within Facebook Live. They're in the ad business themselves, and that's how they make their money. So if you do something that's too promotional, where you're just physically doing a straight up ad, they're likely to cut you off. And so music is another issue. If you have some music on your channel that they feel that you don't own, because there's some jams that I wouldn't mind having as kind of my intro. I was thinking about LL Cool J Rock the Bells because I'm fired up and ready to go. So when I come on the show, we can rock the bells. But I don't have any rights to rock the bells. Facebook say, hey, you rock it one time, and then that's it. So that's why we're not rocking the bells with LL Cool J. But we'll find out. A lot of times the intros are like this funny kind of noise, background that people have. But we'll work all that out. See if you're even interested. Maybe you're not even interested in having some kind of graphic, logo with some sounds and all that, because we're responding to you. You see what you're interested in. You just want to go to the straight programming, and I'm with that. We go straight to the. You want to come on and do a little something. Let's get yourself out there. If you're not scared, maybe scared to come on the show. Click on that link. The We 1, 2, 3. Click. And you're there. Because I know one of you guys is, scared to duke it up. Yeah. Well, I'm just using that as a technique. I don't think anybody's afraid. But if it worked, come on. We'll talk about whatever, national football or what you want to talk about for a minute. And we'll keep it rolling. But, depending on what clock I'm looking at, it's kind of funny. If I look at the old cell phone, I should be cutting this thing off. If I look at my computer over there, I got another 2 minutes to roll. So in the spirit of that, I'm going to split the time. I'm going to chop it off here. I want to thank you all for another morning of waking up to Mornings with Nate. I want to thank you for the feedback, for the questions. I want to thank Derek Burnett for his participation, his presentation today, and all the people